Okay, hello everyone. We have to start on time. Kindly take your seat, please. One more time. Hello everyone. Please take your seat. We have to start on time. We have a packed day today. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming today on a Wednesday in the city of Garden Grove. We are thankful to the city to give us this wonderful location to host our third summit for investors and startup founders. This is Anshuman Sinha, your organizer. I'm organizing this event with Jerry Hykins, Scott Fox, and Assis Sabu, and they will be coming and talking about their, commitment to the startup community here very shortly. This is our third event. The first event was on January 26th, and then the second event we did on June 20th. Both the events happened in this location, and it was a great success. In the second event, we had 19 startup companies coming and pitch to us, to the investors in the audience. Today also, we have 12 companies who will be pitching, and they are divided into 2 slots. So I will give you a sneak peek of the agenda. As you can see, we have a full day from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and then we are going to meet for a special networking and a power networking session at Steelcraft, which is a walking distance from here. It is a gem of city of Garden Grove. Today, 12 pitching is going to happen, as I said earlier, and you can read the agenda. It is also available to you on the internet. We are trying to build a startup community here. These are some of the assets that we have. Startup Steroid, which is a deal flow and a SPV platform. So once you apply to an angel group, then you go through the pitching or demo. So we have a special app for that called the Demo Day app, which is basically an investor engagement and audience engagement app. I call it app, but literally it is not an app. You just scan a QR code and you are in there, and I'll show you how. And for the investor, we also do SPVs. Many of you know me already. If not, SPV Hub is open, and we are a Delaware-based Master and Series LLC company. I also do Let's Talk Startup, which is on every Thursday. It is a Zoom event, and startup founders and mentors can come. They can share their stories, and we have topic-based AMA series on Let's Talk Startup also. Other than that, we have 2 other assets. One is Startup Talent. So as a startup founder, what do? Once you get funded, you need to hire talent. And we know the talent business. So if you are looking to hire, if you are hiring, please come to us. We'll help you in finding your co-founder, finding your technical team, be it here or be it in India. And then we have a startup digital company also. So if you are looking for digital marketing help, we can help you with that. I have created 2 LinkedIn groups. This group is exclusive for startup founders. I would request you to pull out your phone, take a photo of the QR code, and join this group. This is exclusively for startup founders. And what we do here that you post your question, you post your needs, and somebody from the community will respond to you. There are already 2,600 members in this group. You cannot find this group on LinkedIn. You can only join it with the QR code that I'm going to give you, or which is out there on the screen right now. Similarly, I have an exclusive group for investors on LinkedIn. What we do here, deal syndication. And also, help each other in due diligence of this startup. Today, we are going to have 12 startup pitching companies, and we have a pitching framework, which is that, each startup will get 3 minutes to pitch. Then you can share your PDF or PPT, which we have already received and pitch it on the app. And then 5 minutes for Q&A. We have a panel of 4 to 5 judges who will be taking this stage, and they will be asking questions from you about your startup and your startup journey and your funding needs. And then all the audience can rate the startup pitching using the Demo Day app or the Demo Day platform that we have, and Ashish, my co-founder in that, is going to take you through that. This is, if your phones are out, then just take a QR code and you can see all the listing of all the startups and their pitching slots available here. So as I said earlier, we have a packed day today, and we have to move fast. I'm happy to introduce you with Stephanie. She is the City Council member of Garden Grove, and the facility that we are in is a city facility in Garden Grove, and we are very thankful to Stephanie and all the staff of Garden Grove for accommodating us and giving us this great venue to host our events. Stephanie.
Thank you, Anshuman. I appreciate it so much. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Garden Grove Mayor Steve Jones and the Garden Grove City Council, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the City of Garden Grove and to the Startup Game Changer Summit 3.0. This is my first time speaking at this event, so I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Startup Game Changer for this amazing opportunity. I would also like to thank all the organizers that make the summit possible. Startup Game Changer 3.0 is where entrepreneurs can learn, meet, and build relationships that lead to startup growth and investment capital. A business philanthropist once said, "Business is not just doing deals. Business is having great product, doing great engineering, and providing tremendous service to customers. Finally, business is a cobweb of human relationships." Navigating a startup business can be challenging, and it's wonderful to see so many professionals networking and taking advantage of the opportunities provided today. Startup Game Changer is a platform that aims to support early stage startups and direct the much needed game-changing navigation towards success. Collaboration and cooperation are essential for success. And Startup Game Changer's goal is to create a supportive community of like-minded individuals passionate about creating positive change in the world through their startup business. The city believes it is essential to attract and assist startup businesses that can contribute positively to our local economy. I'm excited that this summit will provide an opportunity for startups to share their ideas, build new relationships with founders and investors, learn the latest growth strategies, and get inspired. Once again, it's a pleasure to have Garden Grove serve as your host city, and I wish you all a very enjoyable summit and have fun at Steelcraft later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. So now who better than Scott Fox, your MC for the day, and he'll be taking us through the event today.
Thank you. Welcome. All right, I turned the lights on so you don't fall asleep. We're going to have a good time today. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm thrilled to have you here. This is the third time we've done this, and every time it gets bigger and better. I can see a lot of anticipation in your eyes. It's going to be exciting stuff, so thank you. We're on a mission to help improve and enhance and accelerate the Orange County startup ecosystem. Like Anshuman said, many of us are entrepreneurs ourselves who've now become investors, and we want to help. We're trying to give back knowledge and expertise, not just by investing, but also by building community and building relationships. And that's why you all are here today. You may think that the product is actually what you're going to hear from our esteemed judges and panelists, but it's actually the relationships that you have the opportunity to build while you're here. We have at least dozens of 40, 50 investors by the end of the day. This will be one of the highest ratios of investors you'll see at any conference I've ever been to, other than a pure investor conference, of course. So founders, please be friendly. And of course, investors, your job is to be friendly too. What we're trying to do is create a culture here that can help accelerate everybody, and that starts by being welcoming. So welcome. Everybody put up your hands for a second, right? You're all here, wave at each other, right? So I want to give you a hint. How many of you have been to the Masterminds workshops that I host? Fair number of you. Okay, so you guys know what happens, right? I give you homework, right? So the homework, the assignment for today is you have to meet at least 3 new people, all right? I give you official permission to network, have a good time, and be friendly. And you know what? It will work because everybody's here for the same reasons you are. They may not look like you, they may not be in the same industry, the same age, the same color, the same height, whatever, but they're here because they share the values that you have, which are around entrepreneurship. We're here to build things. That's why I love doing this, because entrepreneurs are optimists. We get shit done, we show up, right? And here you are, you showed up. So the hard part's over. Today, just relax, we're gonna have a good time. Oh, photo op. Okay, so what we're gonna do today is as follows. I didn't introduce myself. So I'm Scott Fox. I'm chairman of the, I'm CEO of the Orange County Startup Council, which is this thing over here. A lot of you know that. How many of you are on our newsletters? Do you get the Orange County Startup News? Okay. Anybody who doesn't have your hand up, you're missing out. It's the #1 source for all the startup news in Orange County, and it's free, so why not sign up? You can go to ocstartupcouncil.org, or there's a table back there that has a QR code on it, and I'll put one up later probably too. I think there's one on the slides. Anyway, we're publicizing everything. So if you're involved with a startup or a community organization or an investment group or a service provider, come and list in the directory, come and send us your news. We're just trying to bring everybody together. I spent most of my career in New York and the Bay Area and LA, and when I moved here several years ago, I was like, where is everybody? We need to pull together, right? And we're just trying to create a friendly interface so that people can find each other. There used to be this thing that my kids don't believe me called the Yellow Pages. We don't have Yellow Pages anymore, so the Orange County Startup Council website is where you can find each other, so please do. So I'm a serial internet entrepreneur. I've raised money, I've invested money. These days I'm mostly an investor. I've written several books about entrepreneurship. I'm part of Tech Coast Angels. Apparently I'm a model. And I run Stanford Angels for Orange County, among many other things. So if I can be of help to you, please go back there and grab my card there on the table. Happy to help. All right, so what we really want to do today is get involved and talk about expertise that can help you build startups. So I'm going to come down. I want some people to tell me why you're here today. Like, what is it that you're trying to figure out and learn? If you have a question, who has a question that they came here today? Somebody must have. You didn't just come here today to hear me talk, right? Why did you come here? Here we go.
Yeah, I'm just seeking for a specific of my industry, which is EC industry, architecture, engineering, and construction. I'm looking for investors who are interested in that industry. I'm a founder.
I think we can handle that. She's looking for investors interested in her industry. Who else? Who else got something to say? We got the right table here.
Hello everyone, I'm Shalini, and I am looking for someone with deep pocket who believe in love and relationship, and I'm building a service or a community for single Indians looking for something substantial.
My company, 69 Moons, is building an AI technology to match consumers with traditional Chinese medicine herbs based on the 3,000-year-old TCM principles. And we're going to make that AI data available to TCM practitioners, TCM schools, TCM manufacturers.
Good job. Not a pitch. Pitches later. Okay. All right. So you get an idea. Everybody's here with questions, and I think you all probably all have questions and want to meet people. So just real quickly, I don't want to paint too big a target on your back, but I already painted one on mine. If you're an investor, just raise your hand for a second. Okay, see, they're here, they're hiding. You can't tell, but they're here. So go ahead and talk to them and be friendly. And we're all going to have a good time here. So our agenda, Anshuman already ran through most of it, but we're really going to get started in a moment here with a panel about co-founders. In January, with our first event, our strategy for all this, we tried to identify the biggest bumps that early stage founders hit in the road towards success. So in our first event back in January, we talked a lot about deal structure and valuation, because that's one of the first questions that we always get at the workshops that I run. Last time, we talked, hold on, I got my order wrong. No, sorry, first time was legal issues, that's right. We started with a lot of legal issues about incorporation and what kind of structure you need. So we had a panel of attorneys here to help people answer the questions. Last time was valuations. We did a whole Price is Right game where we had the startups pitch their startups and a panel of investors then gave them valuations and we saw how their opinions differed, and that was pretty entertaining. Today we're going to talk about co-founders. That's another big topic that comes up. So we're going to have a panel of experienced co-founders and a venture capitalist up here in just a second, friends of ours, who are going to tell you about their experiences, and they'll have time for some questions as well. Then we're going to run through startup pitching. A lot of you are pitching. We have a bunch of great judges, and we will run through all that. And then we're going to have, at the end, stick around for this, because I think this would be the most interesting part of the day, is the interactive pitch workshop. So after we hear a dozen pitches throughout the afternoon, we're going to have just the judges come back on stage, and we're going to talk about what they thought could have been done better. So that'll be the real takeaways from the whole day, hopefully to help everybody raise their game in terms of pitching. And then the after party will be over at Steelcraft, which is, where are we? It's right over there. A couple blocks, which is an outdoor, if you haven't been to Steelcraft, it's an outdoor food courty sort of place, but very hip and cool, and there's drinks and food, and that will run on into the evening afterwards. So we'll have to clear out here pretty sharp about 5 o'clock, because this is a city-owned building, and we need to move on. So don't do your networking here, we'll all go over there and continue the party, okay? That's the plan today. Okay, so next up, we're going to talk about we need to thank our sponsors. Just wanted to get that out very clearly. We can't do this on our own. We're sorry we have to charge money. There are costs involved. There's a lot of man hours going to set these things up. We try to keep the costs affordable for everybody, but there are a lot of staff involved in all the promotions. You've all seen multiple promotions, right? So, but we really want to thank our sponsors also for helping defray the cost, which includes Witham. I can't see anything now because I'm blind, but I know our friends from Witham are here, and Alan and our Witham team. Can you guys stand up just for a second? Can we turn the lights back on? Thank you. Okay, there we go. So these folks are from Witham. This is a great accounting firm, big accounting, tax, audit, great friends of the local startup system. We appreciate their help. And then, yes, good idea. Thank you for that. Okay, and also our friends from Sunstone. I know I saw a couple. There's Jasmine. Okay, Jasmine will be on later. Sunstone's a big partner of ours. And Ramon, I haven't seen Hake yet. Is Hake here? Hake will be here soon. Okay, he'll be on a panel later. And then, of course, our friends here in Garden Grove. So thank you all. We couldn't do this without you. And I think that is it. We're going to bring up, yes, okay, thank you, yes, applause, right. Okay, so we're going to bring up our first panel, which will be our friends Abhi and Victor and Matt, and they're going to. Abhi is an experienced venture capitalist, a good friend of ours. He's an operating partner with Sarah Cap Ventures, which is a firm based here in Orange County, Costa Mesa, I think. And they've had some good deals lately. You want to let's move these over here in the middle. Yeah. All right, make yourselves at home. Entrepreneurs, get things done. Good job. Okay. All right, take it away, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
Boom. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And good afternoon. Good afternoon. There you go, there you go. I love the energy. That happens after lunch. I don't blame you. So, welcome to our panel, and thank you so much, Scott, for the cue, and I've been told I have to wrap this up in the next 30 minutes. So, thank you so much for OC Startup Council and the Startup Game Changer 3.0. When Ashish and Anshuman reached out to me, and then they said, well, we have to do something about this co-founder thing. And I, okay, well, that would be an interesting panel. Who are going to be in my panel? Well, then they said, well, there are two amazing, serial, successful entrepreneurs who are going to join me. So what happens when you put a former entrepreneur turned venture capitalist trying to grill two serial, successful entrepreneurs? Let's explore. So over to you, Matt, first to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt Sand. I'm an educator in the past. Taught classes on entrepreneurship. Currently an investor at Tech Coast Angels, and more than anything, I consider myself an operator. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been involved in startups where I started it myself. I've had one partner in previous startups. I've had my most recent startup where we raised $90 million in venture capital was with two co-founders. So there was a person, co-founding team, so I've kind of seen the good, bad, and ugly of all different types of co-founder relationships. And randomly, when I was talking to Scott, I mentioned I'm actually writing a book right now on co-founders and how to make yours, kind of a guide on how to make your co-founding relationship successful and how to set it up for success from the beginning. So I'm actually about 30 interviews deep on writing that book right now, and I hope to have it come out in the next 6 to 8 months.
Thank you, Matt. Well, that gives a cue to Senor Macias, por favor.
My name is Victor Macias, and I discovered entrepreneurship when I would see my mom wake up at 4 a.m. to go to work at a production job, and I wondered, why does my mom have to work so hard? One day I'm gonna make so much money, she's never gonna have to work again. From then, a lot of it was self-taught. I did go to school for entrepreneurship. I've had a couple of startups. I had a men's lifestyle platform with a co-founder. We ended up doing sponsorship deals with Gillette, with Dove Men. It became a big influencer type of platform. My last startup, Nui Foods, I started with the co-founder, and it was based on the keto diet. It was a low-carb keto cookie. We started with $3 grand each, grew it up to over 7 figures in under a year, raised over 6 figures on crowdfunding, and even landed a deal on Shark Tank. That was a really cool journey. That business didn't work out. I'd be happy to talk about how that happened. And then now I'm the founder of Santana Snacks, an all-natural organic snack brand based on the Latino experience that I had growing up. I want to share that love with the world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. This is all about finding the right co-founder. And one of the fact remains that teamwork makes the dream work. Of course, there is also some coffee involved in that as well, right? In terms of finding that right balance in the team so that all of you are chiming and thinking and aligned to the same mission, what are some of the qualities that one should look in their co-founders? So, Matt, would you like to take that question?
Yeah, sure. I think it's kind of the question that you need to ask. And, you know, they talk a lot about the hacker-hustler combination, that the best startup teams are both the hacker and the hustler. The hacker is usually the person making the product or writing the code, and the hustler is usually the person doing the sales and taking care of the front office stuff. And I think the reason that's such a legendary pairing of co-founders is because the skills that they bring to the table are very complementary. And I think if you're looking to partner, rather than just partnering with the first person who raises their hand and says, I'm interested, let's do this, the first person that just wants to go with you, which is tempting because it's hard to go alone. So usually it's so comforting to have somebody else there with you, and I've done this in the past myself. I wanted to go do this crazy thing where most people are telling me I shouldn't do it, it's a big risk, and I've got this other crazy person who wants to go with me, so heck yeah, let's go together. But more often than not, I think that's actually a mistake. And it can be a mistake because if your skills aren't complementary enough, even if your personalities are very complementary, say it's your best friend from 20 years, you know, if your skills overlap a lot, and you bring a lot of the same stuff to the table, and meanwhile you're missing some of the key skills that are required to really be successful with your business, then that could be setting your company up for a failure. And you know, if you're gonna, I think the right way to think about this is not something that you just jump into and let's see if it works out. I think the right way to think about it is, this is something I'm going to dedicate at least the next 5 years of my life to. This is something I'm going to dedicate probably my life savings to. You know, and if you think about it from that context, then it becomes a lot more serious question, who should I partner with? And I think what you do is you kind of map out the key skills required for this company that you want to build to be successful. And once you map out the skills required, you can say, look at yourself in the mirror, what do I bring to the table and what am I missing? And what's missing is what you should be looking for in your co-founder.
Wow, excellent. Excellent thought there. So from a perspective of an investor, we always look for the jockey, not the horse, meaning is the team, the people who are going to take the horse to the finish line. the company to the finish line. And I was asked a very interesting question one time, that what if the horse is a crippled one? And I was like, wow, thanks for that amazing vote of confidence in my intellectual ability and competence to find the right horse. But having said that, Victor, what do you think what is the best position to structure your team? One is an internal focus, what you need, but there is an investor that might be looking into investing in you, in your team. So what do you think, what will be that balance in terms of positioning your team inside out versus outside in?
I think if we're talking inside out, a lot of it is value-based. I lucked out with my last business partner that we had a lot of the same values. We were both growth-minded. We were always sharing books, things that we were learning, going to therapy, right? I mean, business partnerships is like a marriage. So there was a lot of that. We were both hungry. In terms of outside in, we were clear on what we wanted. We were clear on our goal. We had a number, right? Everybody had just the number that we focused on. And for us, at first, it was $1 million in sales. You ask us a question, great. How does that get us close to $1 million in sales? It was all about focus that way. As things grow, as money comes in, as pressure happens, that's when, like as in any marriage, a lot of the challenges come up. Who's the actual CEO? Who's in charge? Those are things that you kind of have to think about ahead of time rather than when you get there.
That is very true. There was one time when I was listening to this great founder who said that there is no I in teamwork. And I did go and talk to him after his amazing speech, and I asked him that there is an M and an E which makes it me. So there are essentially two people who slog it out, but the entire team gets the credit. So what would be the balancing act when we are talking about the core team that is really the foundation for finding the right co-founder?
What's the question?
That's the thing, you know, I confuse him so much. If you cannot convince them, confuse them. So in terms of having the balancing act, because at times there are 2 people or 3 people who do the bulk of the job, but you need to really have the right people who may or may not be available for the task in hand. So how do we have the balancing act with respect to kind of managing the team, maneuvering the team, because it's the core team of co-founders that's going to steer the ship in the right direction. So what would be that balancing act, in your opinion?
Okay, well, I have a few thoughts along those lines. I'm not sure if I'll directly answer your question, but typically you don't want co-founding teams larger than 3 people. When you start getting more than 3 people, it starts to become a big challenge in communication and alignment. You start to get 4 or 5 people splitting the equity. All of a sudden, 5 people splitting the equity 5 ways. Everybody has 20%. Nobody has like a huge stake in the company that they're really willing to dive in and just make it happen. So, but as far as building the team out and going from there, I think that's part of the reason why you want to look at complementary skills. And ask yourself, what do I actually need to get to a milestone in the company? What do I actually need on my team to build that first prototype? I heard there was for example, a website, a dating website for single Indian people. Interesting. You need a website. That's kind of your first milestone, is building that website. If you're just a business person, you don't have anybody who can make the website, then it's hard to get to that first milestone. The reason that first milestone is really important is because the vast majority of companies cannot be self-funded, especially when it comes to technology companies. The vast majority of companies have outside investment. And you get to that milestone so that you can raise some amount of capital, whether it's a lot or a little, whether it's from friends and family or from big-time venture capitalists. You raise some amount of capital, and then from there you can start building your team out. So I think the early hires is also an important thing to think about, but just focusing on co-founders right now is what do you need to kind of hit that milestone, to get the first progress in the company that allows you to really push it forward.
That's actually true in terms of, it keeps coming off, so I'm going to put it here. That's really true in terms of kind of having that, the balancing act with respect to who hold the reins and who are the ones who are contributors. So because in any startup, in any company, there will be those definers, doers, delegators. So there is that balancing act that is really needed in any company, so that the view going back to the outside in and inside out, we need to have a fair strategy around who gets to do what at what point in time. Speaking of which, now that, let's assume you found the right co-founder. Have you encountered a situation wherein you had to formulate a co-founder agreement so that, hey, you know what, if your heart changes, you find that, okay, well, my vision doesn't align with yours, so that you part your ways in something which is conducive for the company. The company doesn't have to go down the toilet just because someone decided to leave you. So have you had that kind of a scenario wherein you had to create that co-founder agreement and it came in handy, Victor?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when we were first forming the company, we had the agreement. What happens if somebody wants to leave? What happens to the equity? We were co-founders and we did 50-50. In hindsight, I don't know if 50, and you probably have a lot more experience with this, I don't know if 50-50 is the best distribution of equity. But it was all in play. Ultimately, a lot of it became more about how to run the company than the structure, right? Who's in charge of what, and that's where some of the conflicts can happen.
Maybe I can tack onto that too. Number one, everybody should vest. Anytime you're co-founding a company, everybody should vest. If you don't know what that means, then talk to your startup attorney. You eventually earn your equity over time. If you're not vesting, and let's say Victor and I partner, we go 50-50, we start the company, we get 2 months in, and Victor says, I'm out, I'm not into this. He walks away with 50% of my company. If we're vesting, he walks away with 0% of my company. It's 100% my company. You earn your equity over time. Vesting is absolutely critical. I know that's a tactical point, but just make sure you're vesting your equity. Second thing on the co-founder agreement, you 100% need a co-founder agreement. You need it less for the legal perspective, more for the interpersonal expectations management perspective. At the end of the day, if you guys are going to go to war over something, and it's going to get ugly, you're going to have your legal agreements. Hopefully you're going to talk to a startup attorney when you get going. You're going to have your business partnership agreement and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, the most important thing, in my opinion, with a co-founder agreement is the vehicle it is to help you align. Both as far as a values perspective, do we share the same values? Do we share the same vision for the company? And also from an organizational perspective, who's the CEO? Who's making the decisions? How are we going to make decisions? Even if we're co-CEOs, which I think is a bad idea, but if we're co-CEOs, like I'm going to make these decisions over here, you're going to make these decisions over there, whatever it is. It's similar to a business plan. A business plan, you write this 30-page document that nobody's ever going to read. Everybody will tell you it's a waste of time, but at the end of the day, it is a phenomenal exercise in you thinking through every aspect of the business. And it's something that I highly encourage entrepreneurs to do. At the same time, a co-founder agreement makes you think through every aspect of your teamwork and your relationship, and how are we going to make this work over the long term.
Fantastic input. On that note, and looking at the watch, so it's time to turn the table on the audience, and I would like to welcome if there are any questions. I can walk up to you. That gives me some steps for the day.
Thank you. A question for Matt. You had mentioned having co-founder or co-CEOs was a bad idea. I'm just curious, coming from a tech company that had co-CEOs, why you feel that way?
I'm not saying it can't be done and it can't be successful, but the vast majority of the time you see it doesn't work. From startups as small as 2 people starting in a garage to big companies such as Salesforce, who tried the co-CEO thing for a while and eventually abandoned it. Ultimately, it comes down to making decisions who's making this decision, who is the ultimate authority. And it's not that nobody ever pulls out their co-founder agreement and says, hey, on this piece of paper it says that I can make this decision here, but it's just, it's healthy for the company to know everybody's going to give their inputs, everybody's going to fight as hard as they want for a decision to be made, but at the end of the day, the decision will be made by the person in charge who's the CEO. And in my last company, for example, I was president, so I was in charge of all the business stuff. We had a CTO who was in charge of all the technology, and then we had a CEO who's overseeing both technology and business. And ultimately, that CEO made all the decisions. It was a great setup. It led to a lot less disagreement, which is why with the co-CEO structure, if you had success with it in the past, I'd be willing to bet there's a very clear delineation between these are my roles and responsibilities, and these are yours, and you stay out of my lane, and I'll stay out of your lane, and we'll be good. So yeah.
Hi.
And I just want to say, with a startup game, there are no laws in the startup game. There are guidelines. You know what I mean? So anytime anybody says this is what you should do, then take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? So this is my perspective. Sorry.
Hey guys, thanks again for doing this. My question is, what would you advise for founders who started a company without a co-founder? Is it too late, or do you try to find someone, or do you just keep going on your own?
I think some of it might come down to what your strengths and your weaknesses are. If we're talking tech, right? If you don't have a tech background, I would consider that. Personally, this new company that I've started on my own. I see business almost like a painting, and I like to have the autonomy to kind of paint it the way I like. I do have a team to help, but yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on that.
I think it's a great question, and at least one of the key points that I wanted to make today, which is a little bit counter to what you hear. One of the main things that I've realized in my own entrepreneurial career and doing the research for this book is if you don't have to partner, don't partner with somebody. If you can do this alone, do it alone. If you map out the key skills required for this company and you realize, hey, I've got everything I need to hit that first milestone, first few milestones, then do it that way. And I think that's probably the best way, in my opinion, to do it. You hit that milestone, you put your own money in, you raise money from investors, and then you do what Jeff Bezos did. He was a hustler through and through. He had a couple programmers that he did not bring on as partners. He just hired them. And I think that's a great way to go, because ultimately it's very clear that decision making and who's in charge and who owns the company and who's the vision, I mean, it just really clears everything up. With that being said, as Victor was saying, I think it depends on you. There are some personalities that really struggle to do this type of thing alone, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you know you're the person who can go it alone, then go it alone. If you know you're the person who needs a partner and wants that type of support, then do it that way.
Thank you.
Hi, sort of building on that last question, what might be some sources outside of personal and social circle to find competencies that you're looking for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it obviously depends a lot on what you're looking for. So for me, after I got my MBA, I was pure business, and I wanted to be pure business. I didn't want to mess with the technology at all. So for me, I was looking for technology counterparts. I mean, I found my last partners at USC. They were in the middle of their PhD. They were getting their PhDs in metal 3D printing, and I really wanted to do something in metal 3D printing. So I kind of found them and networked to them. But I really think it'll become more obvious to you as you map out, here's what I need. This is the very specific key. I'm not just looking for a co-founder. I'm looking for somebody who's an expert in this type of technology. And then all of a sudden it becomes kind of obvious where you need to go and what you need to do to get that partner. And then I think, after you identify that key skill, then go to target-rich environments, Where are those people with those skills typically hanging out? And I need to go insert myself there.
And in terms of finding competencies, strengths, and weaknesses, I'm a big fan of Ray Dalio, his book Principles. He talks about personality tests and how he has these baseball cards for every team member. Based on that, he knows where to put them on the bus. Something we did with my business partner a lot, every quarter we would take personality tests and just ways to see where each person could fit. So once you're thinking of finding somebody, I would think about at least some of those aspects.
Fantastic. Well, we have time for only 2 last questions, so this is the second last.
My question is about resources, right? When it comes to like the investing or seeking for investors, what would you say there are a couple of books or a couple of areas where we can find good information in regards to navigating a financial deal?
Are you talking about investors or are you talking about co-founders?
I'm talking about, let's say I'm a founder and I'm looking to get into an investment deal, right? What would be a good resource? I mean, there's a lot on the internet and I get that and we all go and watch those videos, right? But if we want to expand in terms of a book or that side to help us with navigating the financial aspect of an investment deal.
I think that question is not pertinent to this panel, but I would love to take this offline. Let's focus our questions with respect to finding your co-founder. So I will just kind of, since you raised your hand first, so I would like to give you the opportunity, and then the lady over there.
Hi, Matt, I loved your analogy of hacker versus hustler. I'm actually a hustler. One of the challenges that I find is, with sales, marketing, business development, of getting into something early enough, because initially it's all about the product, right? They just want to build the product. And then positioning yourself, not getting in too late, by which time the team is already built. So if you can kind of talk about that a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, depending on how early you want to get in, if you want to be a co-founder in the company, I think the hustler's role is not only sales, marketing, business development, but it's also vision. I think, in my experience, I found if you have a hacker who has the vision, then they don't feel they need you, and they're very unlikely to partner with you. So they already feel like they've got the problem identified, and they want to go build this product, and you might be able to help with some sales and marketing. But if you're looking and my answer there is, like, you have to have the vision. You need to be the product guy. They're going to make the product happen, but you're going to say, this is what we need, this is the market we're targeting, and here's how we're going to go tackle it. And then they kind of sign on to that vision. So finding a hacker who doesn't yet have his or her own vision, I think, is a big part of it. The other part of it is, if you want to join a startup team, if you want to join it relatively early, then I would just look at the companies that are funded either through angel groups, individual investors, or pre-seed type of companies, and typically those can be found on Crunchbase.
So we are almost out of time, so last question here.
Hi. So does a co-founder have to buy in, or can you just do it with sweat equity, and then I have something that I kind of wanted to share with the group. But so that's my question, because I'm kind of in a place where I don't really feel like I need a co-founder, but do investors require one? And then I'd rather just give him vested interest in the company instead of making him a co-founder. But what's the best way to go there?
This is a great example of where there are no rules in startup land. You could point to many companies with many different examples of have co-founders bought in or have they not bought in, and really that would be up to you. I'd say if you're really strongly of the opinion you don't need a co-founder, but your investor is telling you you need a co-founder, then I would go look for a new investor, unless that person's already invested in the company. In which case, there might be a blind spot that you're not seeing, that your investor, if this isn't a very experienced investor who's seen a lot, then you may not be seeing what they're seeing, and And they may have a good point, and it may make sense for you to bring in a co-founder. Whether that co-founder buys in or not, you know, if you found the perfect co-founder and you wanted them in the company and they didn't have the means to necessarily buy the stock, or they just wanted to join in the company and get 10% of the company, that's a co-founder title is, depending on the stage of company, I mean, it's a title that you could give anybody, basically. They get 10% of the company that vests, and they earn a co-founder status, and that you know, that's the title that you give them in addition to their business role, then I think that would be okay.
I just wanted to share, if anybody is seeking certifications or government contracts, you need to be 51% owned by, say, a woman-owned small business, disabled-owned, veteran-owned, etc. So if you're interested in that, keep that in mind.
Okay, thanks. Good marketing there. That's not expected. Well, anyways, well, thank you so much, Matt and Victor, for your amazing insights there. It always said that it takes two to tango. You have to find your yin and yang, whatever the case may be. Time after time, whether it's Larry and Sergey, or Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, or for that matter, Bill Gates and all that. And there are so many examples and instances where we have great companies that started with two people kind of coming together for the shared vision. And that's where the power of co-founder does work. And there are so many more examples like Airbnb, WhatsApp, and the list goes on and on. Well, on that note, thank you so much. Just a reminder that you need to keep looking, because your network is your net worth, be it people, be it the investment that is out there. So thank you again, Matt and Victor, for your time. And with that, we call it a wrap for our panel. Thank you.
So up next, we're going to have some startup pitching. We've got 6 startups coming your way. You're each going to do just 3 minutes. 3 minutes pitch, and then 5 minutes of Q&A. This is a little different than a lot of pitches you see where they talk for a long time and you get 2 minutes of questions. We're trying to do the reverse so you can really hear how the investors think and the questions that they're going to ask. So we have 5 volunteer judges. Come on up. I forget who's in the first group. But here comes Alan Go from Witham. And who else have we got first time? Ash from Expert Dojo. Who else are Vishal from Idosh? Oh, there you go. Look at that. Maisha. I didn't see Maisha. There she is. Okay. Yes, and Amy. All right, so these are our judges. And I think we're ready to roll, right?
So you can see the companies in the lineup, and we might be running a couple minutes behind, but we'll, I'm sure, catch up. As the first company gets over here, I would ask the judges to quickly give a 30-second introduction, if they would. Starting with you, Ashutosh, please. And PharmaJet, if you can make your way over here. There.
All right, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Ashutosh Kobayashi. I founded a startup earlier back in India and sold it then before moving to the US. And now I recently joined Expert Dojo, so we are an early stage accelerator, come VC firm as well. We are launching our growth opportunity fund as well. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and looking forward to all the pitches.
Hi everyone, my name is Vishal Arora. I'm based out of Los Angeles. I'm a managing partner with Pitosh Capital. We focus on a very early stage startups, focus on mainly on emerging technologies that focuses on experience economy across the B2B, B2C market. Been investing for almost last 7 years now, and happy to be here today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Wood, and I work for Pepperdine Business School. I run a program called The Most Fundable Companies, where we educate founders about the investor diligence process, and layer on top of that every year a competition where we publish a list of 15 to 20 companies that we call Pepperdine's Most Fundable Companies. Thank you for having me.
Hi everyone. This one. Hi everyone, I'm Maisha Merchant. I'm the EVP and Chief Financial and Operating Officer of the Colburn School, which is based in downtown Los Angeles. As a part of my role, I oversee the $500 million in endowment that we have, as well as I also am on the board of Thai SoCal's Women's Fund, and so excited to be here.
Hello, my name is Alan Doe. I am the West Coast team leader for the Technology and Emerging Stage Growth Industry Group for Witham, an accounting firm. I've seen and done a lot. I've done IPOs, I've done SPACs, I had a client that was a Shark Tank client at one point, or contestant at one point. I always like to say my fun little flex is the 3 threes. So last year I had 3 publicly traded company clients. All 3 of them were traded on the NASDAQ, and all 3 of them I had IPO'd at some point. So happy to be here.
Thank you to our panel of esteemed judges. How about a round of applause for all of our judges? Thank you so much, and with that we'll get right into it. PharmaJet is the first company to present. Just wanted to remind you, if you would take a minute to snap that QR code. Once you snap the QR code, you should get a page which would give an event number and a place for you to put your email address in there. Just put your email and it should show you today's event and all 12 companies in there. On top, it would ask you a few questions about yourself, your name, your phone number, and are you an investor, are you a service provider? So please do that, and then that way you'll be ready to start providing feedback to the founders in real time. And I'll remind you after each pitch as well. But that's really how we are going to go. 5 minutes, 3-minute pitch. 15 seconds before the 3-minute, you will hear 2 beeps. That will give you an idea of you're about to finish. And after that, a 5-minute timer will start, which will be for your Q&A. So total 8 minutes. And let me hand this over to you and get you started.
Can you hear me?
And there is PharmaJet.
So does the clicker work as well, or do I need to stand right here? There we go. Okay. I'm here to tell you about a fast, fluid, needle-free injection. We are the only jet injection technology approved for all 3 tissue depths, and we focus on vaccines and therapeutics. We have clinical claims of non-inferiority as well as superiority for standard immunizations as well as messenger RNA and DNA. We have 89 pharmaceutical collaborations across 107 development programs. So out of a $5.5 billion annual injection market for immunization, it's an inexpensive standard of care. We solve the needle issues, and we also contribute to the pharmaceutical development programs. We have 2 platforms. Our needle-free syringe auto-disables after each use. Our injectors are long life, so in combination, we're able to cost compete against needle-based delivery. But our speed of delivery, that fast fluid, helps increase the immune response. We've engineered efficiencies, and typically we save 20 to 50% for every single injection. We're vastly preferred versus needles. We have faster patient processing, more people who show up, and we get rid of needle sharps and waste issues, and we plow back an ROI because we capture every dose out of the vial. Why are we focused on vaccines and therapeutics? Specifically, we have clinical claims demonstrating that our fast fluid injection makes them work better. And that's either for standard immunizations in some cases, or messenger RNA and DNA. So, in part, it's the intradermal space, the antigen cells that are rich in your tissues. We're able to functionally reduce the dose by going from the muscle to the skin. So 80% less vaccine is the same immune response. 60% less is actually superior. This is an example of a DNA Zika candidate. This is our superpower. We are 6-fold higher in immune response versus needles. Needles don't work with DNA administration. Our fast fluid injection helps excite that immune response. Our business model is to work with our collaboration partners. On a look-through basis, we don't take the risk, we don't bear any costs, and we end up on the label of the vaccine or therapeutic, and maybe the only thing on the label. So that plows back returns for our investors for the value of PharmaJet. To frame what we do and where we focus, novel indications, again, we don't bear costs, we don't bear risk. We also work with governments on preparedness activities with the same model, and we're part of large global health initiatives as well, particularly fractional dose. For our investment round right now, we have a $7 million commitment from a strategic investor. We've raised $77 million to date from family office and high net worth individuals. We are seeking additional capital, and I'd be delighted to be able to explain more about our round and the value that this creates for our future exit. Thank you. So, questions, anyone?
Can you talk a little bit about your traction right now in terms of where you are basically, how you are going to the market and what traction you have?
Sure. So I'm going to jump ahead a couple slides here and give you an example. There's a video in the back that you can go see patient experience. But as an example, we have clinical claims for polio. We're part of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. We sell our product. We partner with WHO, for instance. We sell our product into ministries of health, largely outside the United States. And we've successfully immunized 10 million children. If we jump back a couple of slides, with respect to this program, we have 89 partners, large pharma, small pharma, well-endowed academic, government, and NGO partners who are developing a variety of vaccines and therapeutics. So we lend our device, which has all of the regulatory clearances, FDA, CE mark, WHO pre-qualification, et cetera. So it's about proving that their vaccines and therapeutics can work better. We don't bear any of those costs. They pay us to support them through milestone payments and product purchases. And as we hit commercial stage, we end up on the label and we take a royalty from those payments. And then on our government activities, they pay us to participate. They pay us to help them with vaccine development, as well as oftentimes creating additional products. So it's the same kind of relationship as the novel pharma, where eventually those will get spun out.
Thank you.
Understand you mentioned, you talked about how the revenue comes in from the governments. I'm trying to understand the economics. So what about the cost structure? Just talk a little bit more how the economics works.
Sure. So the yellow here is gross margin. Again, we don't pay for any costs. Typically, all of the value from the payments from our novel indications drop to the bottom line. For the federal government, we actually enrolled in contracts with specific milestone payments. We execute, they pay. It's not a great gross margin, but it covers a lot of our overhead costs, and we get to keep all of the IP. And then in terms of global health, typically we're about 50% gross margin, and we tend to bundle. So our injectors go 30,000 times, so it's razor, razor blade, and once those injectors are in place, then we sell more disposable things like our needle-free syringe.
Can you briefly walk us through your IP portfolio?
Sure. So we have 47 issued patents, 13 pending. And I have a slide on this. Okay. The benefit is that our IP, like our regulatory, which is very specific to PharmaJet, it's unique to PharmaJet and no one can borrow from our claims, not generic. Together then with clinical claims, with indications, provides that moat of kind of barrier for someone else to follow us, which we estimate would be 5 to 8 years, because they would have to repeat what we do. They cannot borrow from our claims, and if they were to throw all the money and all the people at it, we estimate that 5 to 8 years of time would probably be the time. So I honestly don't think there's going to be another PharmaJet, because it's just too hard.
Can you explain what you're going to use the $15 million that you're raising for?
You bet. So it's hard to see in the audience here, but we have a lot going on in terms of research and development. We need some more staff. We have people who get A's on their paper every day, all with advanced degrees. Some admin and overhead, because as you can see in these next kind of 3 years here, we are deeply investing in clinical studies with our partners. And now some of that is that we don't pay for the clinical studies, we spend the time. But this next 24 to 36 months, all of the studies are on the docket, and ready to go. And so it's at that deep expenditure, which is the last push towards essentially liquidity for our investors. And I went over it quickly, but briefly, we have a $7 million cornerstone from a strategic investor, international strategic investor, and the rest will come from filling the round with our existing investors. We always offer the opportunity for them to participate, and then we add outsiders. And if anybody has more questions, I don't know if we have one more, but I'm at the back in the corner in the case that anybody wants to come say hello.
For sure. Can you just walk us through, like, what is your biggest risk if you are scaling it at the global level, other than the regulatory affairs? And the second follow-up, you mentioned countries like Pakistan, Somalia. It would be like very affordable for, like at mass level. Yeah, that's the two questions I have.
So we've taken out a lot of risk. We have all the regulatory done, FDA, CE mark, WHO pre-qualification, country-specific claims that cover 42 countries. So when our partners work with us, actually, they get to point to our regulatory approvals, and you don't have to prove that we work, right? In other words, we have data, it's efficacious, it's non-inferior or superior. What they need to prove is actually that their injectable works. So if you look at the span of 107 development programs, what we're doing is diversifying that risk. We don't bear any of the costs, we don't bear any of the risks, and across that portfolio, we take very small probabilities of success because it takes a long time to develop a vaccine or a drug. Many of them are in phase 2 and phase 3, so the probability of success is higher. But generally, we work with partners, they pay for a lot of those out-of-pocket costs, and we contribute our time and the technology and the foundation that we've developed so far. And then, sorry, Pakistan, Somalia?
Yeah, from the cost perspective.
So we also make money there. It's generally about a 50% margin. The WHO pays for some of those areas. USAID, in other cases, we work with Gates Foundation, PATH, JIPEGO, et cetera. And we make a margin on our product, but we also contribute our time and support to those initiatives. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Heather. And please, audience, investors, founders, everybody here, including judges also, I would appreciate if you can make sure you also provide the feedback on the app so that we can share it with the founders. So if you can just snap the picture and try to take the feedback, that would be great. I'll give all of you another 30-45 seconds to do that. Our friend here, Robert, is ready with thumbs up. Where's the clicker? There's a good question. It's right here. So let's go to thumbs up.
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Steele. I'm the CEO of Thumbs Up. I enjoyed the PharmaJet presentation. Let's give them another round of applause. So, Thumbs Up. We believe that Thumbs Up is the only platform that we know of that makes it easy for any brand or business to pay people cash to post about their brand on their personal social media. We're having fun today on their personal social media. So imagine if everybody in this room made a post on their personal social media to their friends about your product. How powerful would that be? So Thumbs Up makes that possible. The other way we frame it is that Thumbs Up is in the process of democratizing the $200 billion social media marketing and advertising industry. So the way it works is that a user might learn about the opportunity to get paid to post at one of our clients. They might see us on CBS. CBS ran a piece on us. They might see a billboard. We have billboards on the west side of LA that say get paid to post. They have a QR code on them. Or they might go into more than one of our 170 businesses in the west side of Los Angeles, and they might see a sign that says get paid to post. So for instance, in the slides that I don't have with me right now, we would show you a crystal store called Hallowed Ground in Venice Beach. It's 1 block from the beach. So there's a sign, you walk in the store, it says get paid to post. So the user points their phone camera at that sign, it puts the Thumbs Up app on their phone, and excellent, great, thank you. So it puts the Thumbs Up app on their phone, App Store, Google Play Store, and it takes them to this screen. So the bottom part of the screen is geolocated, that shows them all of the places in their neighborhood that will pay them to post. So they gave permission for the app to know where they are, and the store they're standing in shows up in the middle of the screen there. It says Hallowed Ground. So in this example, the user taps on the hallowed ground, we call it a tile, and it takes them to their phone camera. They take a picture of something in the store they think their friends will be interested in seeing on their personal social media. So then what happens next is they put a caption in, just like any social media post. They say, I love this crystal ball that I bought at Hallowed Ground. And then when they hit share, that picture and that caption goes out to their friends on their personal social media. In the app, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a dollar value. The Thumbs Up user can tap on that dollar value and they can see that they have $62 that they could cash out right now on Venmo or PayPal for previous posts that have been approved, and they have $10 waiting for the crystal ball post that they just made. So we give our advertiser this Thumbs Up dashboard, which is part of the value we provide, which lets them see all the posts and evaluate the posts and pay for the ones that they approve. So they are only paying for things that are complementary and on brand. So once they approve the post for payment, the user can cash out their balance of approved posts at any time on Venmo or PayPal. So the value to our advertiser is now, in this example, this user, his name is Adam Sands. Now Adam Sands' friends all know that he loves our advertiser, Hallowed Ground. And Nielsen says that 92% of people trust recommendations from friends and family above advertising. So Thumbs Up makes that scalable. So the Thumbs Up advertiser can buy the service on our website, similar to how they buy Facebook ads or Google ads. So they decide how much they want to pay for a post. They can pay as little as $1 or as much as $1,000. And they decide how many posts they want to load up in the system. The most common purchase is $10 payout with an advertiser buying 100 posts. So the way we make money is we charge a 30% markup on that. So we would charge $1,300, we keep the $300 as our revenue, and then the $1,000 stays in the system until 100 posts get made and approved. And the 101st post, that user in the app is going to get a message, and the message says, this campaign's been so popular, please try again later. And then our salesperson can call that advertiser and say, we see people that want to tell their friends about your business, why don't you buy some more posts? And that's my 3 minutes. Thumbs Up is publicly traded in the midst of a public crowdfunding campaign called a Reg A+. The symbol is TZUP, Tom Zebra Umbrella Paul. If you buy the stock in the open market, it's $6.60. You can buy it directly from us for $4.50. We have a booth in the back. Robert Steele, thank you very much.
Raising?
The Reg A Plus round is 2 million shares, registered shares, and we've sold $1 million worth of that, so there's 8 million left on that raise.
Can you share some of your milestones, like users, customers, brands?
Nice to see you, Amy. We've been communicating by email for quite some time. Yes, thank you for the question. So we have crossed 1,000 users on the platform, so it's early stage, but that's up from 100 in January, so that's 10x growth in January. If we keep that up, that's 10,000, 100,000, a million, God willing. On advertisers, we now have 170 advertisers in the app, so that's up from about 30 at the beginning of the year, so that's about a 5x growth. And then recently we did an analysis and we found that our cost per reach is lower than Facebook and our cost per like is lower than Facebook.
And what are some of your upcoming milestones? What's the future trajectory look like?
So we recently...
And how will you reach there?
Thank you. We recently were approved to be a developer for Clover. So Clover has 650,000 point of sale systems in the U.S. So once we finish a little bit of development behind that, there'll be 650,000 Clover retailers that will be able to sign up for Thumbs Up on their digital cash register. And the idea would be that they'd be able to put the offer to get paid to post about the business on the receipt. So that's a big milestone that we're looking forward to coming up. And then what I'm really focused on right now is getting the company on NASDAQ. So this is a unique strategy where it's an early stage company that's gone public. And for us to get on NASDAQ, we basically just need to complete this raise. And if you want more details, I can give you more details. So those would be the two big milestones: Clover, app, and getting on NASDAQ.
So two-part question. One, how do you define critical mass? And two, how many thumbs up do you need to break even?
So first question, define critical mass. Okay, so Airbnb, so my Bible is this book called The Cold Start Problem, written by the head of growth at Uber named Andrew Chen. So we see our business a lot like Uber. So also similar to Airbnb in that we connect buyers and sellers. So Airbnb knows that after they get 300 listings in a given geography, it grows organically from there. So that's what we're focused on right now. And so we're already seeing that advertisers are telling other advertisers and users are telling other users. So that's zero cost of sale when that happens. So that's what we're focused on right now, is we want to be able to tell our investors that it costs X amount of money for us to get to the flywheel effect in the first city. So now help us go to do that in 20 cities. And then on the break even, so Uber got to a $90 billion valuation on growth. So that is the same strategy here, is deliver quarter-over-quarter revenue growth and put all of the money back into the company. And we believe these types of companies get rewarded for that strategy.
From user perspective, like, are you targeting any specific demographic, like the age group of the users, like, and can you just like break it down a little bit?
You know, with Andrew Chen says there's the easy side of the market and the hard side of the market. So users are actually easy for us to get. Advertisers are the harder part. So the first vertical we're really concentrated on is restaurants, because restaurants, they have a problem, and the problem is getting people to come back and hang out in public like they used to. So that restaurant vertical is very, very key for us. Actually, currently, we're seeing usage demographic. You'd think it would be younger people, but it's really all over. It's really all over the place. We have yet to see that there's any one particular demographic that is the like secret sauce for us. But that's, you know, we're in that data acquisition phase, learning more about that.
Robert, what is your revenue milestone for next 2 years or 3 years?
So there's 31 million small businesses in the US. On average, in any given year, 45% buy digital ads. So that's 14 million businesses buying digital ads a year. When they do buy digital ads, they spend an average of $500 a month. So our goal is to get 10% of those businesses to give us 20% of their ad budgets. That would be 1.8 billion in ad volume on our platform, and our 30% would be 500 million in revenue. Okay, so whether it's going to take us 4 years or 6 years to get to 500 million, I'm not sure, but that's what I'm focused on, is getting to that level. Like the timeline, I'm not sure what the timeline is.
So you talk about the 10%, how you are going to go to the first 1% of that 10%?
The Clover strategy, great question, thank you very much. 1% of those that Clover installed base is 6,000 customers.
But if that doesn't come?
Well, we're selling every day, so people are signing up right now. So it's a small little team, but we have a group of full-time salespeople that are going around West Los Angeles. We've actually found that local chambers of commerce love us. Local chambers of commerce, with no cost to us, put me on a Zoom call to their members to promote using Thumbs Up. So the guerrilla strategy is knocking on doors in the beginning, do things that don't scale, but we've also found chambers love Thumbs Up.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, nice job presenting without your slides. It was seamless.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thumbs up for Robert. And thumbs up to all of you. I mean, I was looking at the real-time feedback coming in, and at least half of you are awake. That's what. So I want to make sure the other half gets awake. I think Jerry has a fresh hot water there for coffee. So please keep providing the feedback. It's really valuable for all of our founders. Again, I'll remind you, there's a QR code. Please scan. If you haven't done that, take a minute out and provide the feedback for thumbs up. Our next presenter is NCRI, or I should say next presenters, because we have two gentlemen here who are going to be presenting NCRI. And with that, let's move over to this. Let me just refresh it, because somehow that NCRI present.
Hello? Hello. Thank you for taking your time with us this afternoon. My name is Ross Meyer, and this is my machine learning lead, Pratik, and we're excited to present to you the Network Contagion Research Institute, an industry leader in identifying threats and opportunities through internet content. The problem we face today is extraordinary. Risks, threats, and opportunities are now being created in near real time out of narratives on social media, and this is impacting the world like ever before. An example is Eli Lilly, who, if you remember, had a fake tweet go out saying that they were going to give away free insulin, which ended up dropping their stock value by $15 billion, and it took 20 days for them to regain that valuation.
And this is a problem which is now extending across the world with access to internet. Even companies like Adani Enterprises in India, which lost multi-billion dollars because of reports against them going super viral on social media. So cyber-social threat identification is going to be really important because it can help a lot of organizations make money. Think of hedge funds, think of financial services, think of banks, think of consulting firms who want to stay ahead of the curve. But also think of a lot of other organizations who can save costs, government agencies, security firms who have to constantly monitor movements, mobilization attempts, and also other publicly traded companies and academia. So it's a very important problem to solve, and the total available market can be assessed upwards of $35 billion. Think of all the risks that are averted, all the new opportunities that are found across verticals, pharmaceutical sectors, financial, consulting, governments, and more. So how do we solve this? Our idea is to make sure that you have a real-time monitoring system which can make sure that the end user is updated about any such trends and risks on social media. And to do it, we have a three-pronged approach. You have a real-time open source intelligence ingest, which can collect the data for you. Then have AI models and large language models which can analyze this information, provide you with the insights, the risks and the threats, and make it available to the end user through applications, web apps, APIs, or dashboards. The user will be able to see any type of anomalies. Think of any sudden upsurge or decline in mentions, bots or swarming attempts against their company, their brand, or their message. Think of getting summary regarding events, what is being discussed about them on social media before anybody else, and any potential threats and alerts. And the reason we are really well settled to do this, in our current state, we already have OSINT ingest set up for platforms like Reddit, Twitter, YouTube. We have access to more than 2 petabytes of historical data, and data is the new oil, so you can understand the potential. We have already been featured in some of the top publications in the world, and we have access to some AI models as well.
So that's a lot of talk, but what's our current progress? We're happy to tell you that we've taken over $650,000 in revenue. We have 4 active contracts with 12 more in the pipeline. And our product suite is progressing well with 1 product in production and another in MVP. And we've reached state of the art with one of our AI models. We're asking for a $3 million round, and we've had $1 million already subscribed to, and we're happy to take your questions. Thank you so much.
I think that's how do you have controlled the $50 billion loss that Adani Group in India had, if you guys have been existing that time? Can you just walk us through?
Sure. So, in fact, like a really good example, where with Eli Lilly, we were actually able to show this too. When the tweet was made, a lot of times companies with all the corporate structure, the first response ends up taking a good amount of time. The first response from Eli Lilly came out after 7 hours. And by the time, the damage was already done in the stock market. So think of with a system like ours, we can monitor how often is Eli Lilly discussed online. Suddenly, in the case like this, when free insulin was talked about, the mentions spiked like anything. And we were actually able to see this too. So any such upsurge, the anomaly detection system that we talk about, a module like that can immediately alert your, security or your marketing firms to know that, hey, something is wrong. Like suddenly you're getting talked about a lot. Instead of you having to manually go through all of it, we'll also let you know what is being talked about your company. So that can help you come up with your first response, be more proactive than reactive in this case.
Can you talk about your business model? Is it product plus services or just the product?
So right now the idea is to have some analysts in the loop who can help the end user, because we think of this as a tech 3.0, a very new age company, but gradually we are transitioning towards a fully automated product, which can then be available, B2B, B2C, even B2G.
And can you also talk about the basically competition, because this is not something new, right? Lots of companies, they have a crisis response team and things like that. They are monitoring all the social medias and everything. What you are doing differently here as compared to them?
Right. Ross, you want to take this?
So we definitely have partners through our OSINT ingest that are unique to just us. We have a historical data pipeline and real live data that is unique and partners with purely just us. So we have access to data, which is incredibly hard to get these days. As you might have known, Twitter and a bunch of other companies are really trying to shut off access to the data that used to be a lot more easy to get to and open source. And this is because of the new AI future that we're going into and the amount of value that data has in order to train these new models. So we already have that data and we have partnerships and access to that data. And then we have individuals like Pratik here who have expertise in using that data to then build the next models for the future that can then we use to identify these threats on social media.
Just to add to that, we feel like the types of tools that we have already been building, PushShift is an API that we built for Reddit research. And if you look it up online, look up on Google Scholar, you'll have more than 2,000 research papers citing our tool who are already using it. We are already in an official partnership with Reddit there. And even if you just look up Network Contagion Research Institute, we already have a proven track record of identifying such threats. Right now, as we speak, one of our team members is on NBC News, where he's providing them insights with, how the current war that is going on between Israel and Palestine, what type of implications exist. So we have already had that proven track record. So that really sets us apart. Access to the data and just being able to combine all of this together. We're able to do one piece of this puzzle, but having it all together at one place is the differentiator.
Last quick question, what is your target segment? Is it the enterprise companies, mid-size, or the small scale?
So to be very honest, given the per unit cost that exists, we do see that larger organizations will see more value in this. A publicly traded company, government agencies, we are already running a pilot with the FBI. So somebody like them sees a lot of value in this. We are already, one of our customers is the United States' largest market maker. So we see the focus being on more of the larger organizations, but gradually this could be made available to smaller ones too.
Yeah, the financial sector is definitely a huge sector that we're looking to be a part of. The largest market maker is already a company. We're also looking to work with some of the biggest consulting firms in that respect as well.
Thank you.
You mentioned high costs. So what is the average contract value and what are your margins?
Right. So I feel the average value really depends in this case with a SaaS model is on the number of requests they want to make. So quite essentially, how much data do you really want available to you? Or in terms of insights, what's your search scope? So as a financial services company, as a hedge fund, how many stocks do you want to keep a track of? So that is how we set up the, the sales part of it. And in that, then in terms of our margins, initially, the margins would be low because we are setting up our infrastructure, hiring talent, but going ahead, we see the margins to be anywhere between 60 to 75%.
Yeah. Question, so what is the use of your proceeds? I noticed you mentioned you have one MVP, but how are you going to use that $3 million?
Oh, pardon again?
The use of proceeds.
So we're using the proceeds to grow our computation and infrastructure as well as our organization. We need to hire a couple more machine learning experts as well as just building out the computation infrastructure. So our computers, our GPUs, things of that nature.
How much of your tech rely on third-party API integrations?
Say again, please?
How much of your tech is rely on the third-party APIs?
So right now, most of our tech actually does not rely on third-party. We're actually most, if not completely, in-house. But we are making connections and partnerships with third-party vendors to make sure that in the future we have backups in case we lose access. But right now, we have complete access in-house.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
At the back. Look forward to talking to you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, you know the drill. Please do that. And to encourage participation, our good friend Scott has offered to buy beer for top 5 people who are going to do all these ratings, right? Right, Scott? Steelcraft, yeah. Beer awaits. Just give us 30 seconds after each pitch. Rate these founders, and they can really, use all the help from you in terms of advice, feedback, and also rating how they are doing on various metrics. With that, we are on to our next presenter. Yusuf, is it Quay?
Yes.
Quay. All right, Quay. So we are going to bring up Quay's presentation. Let's see. Can get the Quay's pitch back up. Now 3 seconds, 15 seconds. 3 minutes, 15 seconds clock.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Quay. Used car buying is extremely clunky. There's a lot of steps, and it's never clear no matter how many times you do it. We want to change that. But before we start, I want to clarify, we're not a dealership or a listing service, so we're not selling cars and we're not listing cars. Think of us as the Shopify for dealers and marketplaces, where we enable you to sell more cars online. The way we do this is we offer a suite of products that take a regular online listing into a product that's easily purchasable online. So we walk your customers, or the dealership's customers, through digital documents, digital payments, home delivery scheduling, and financing and insurance tools. Our go-to-market strategy involves targeting these marketplaces and dealers who have access to these car buyers that end up paying for the products. We generate revenue based off of the features used by that consumer. So in the case of the average used car, which is $27,000 in the US, we make $1,400 per vehicle, and the classic car average, $45,000, we make $2,100. The market size is huge. Used cars make up a $1 trillion industry, but I think the most important numbers are how fast we get to $1 million in revenue because of our large transaction size. So only 700 cars constitute $1 million in revenue, and 100 million is 70,000 cars. That seems high, but that's 6 times less than Carvana moves. In our projections, you can see the clear indication of that, where year 3, we're already profitable. We do have competitors in the space, and our closest one is Caramel, where they don't offer the full suite of products that we do, which enable online sales. So for us, it's protective escrow and a direct connection to the DMV. We're the best team to do this. I have dealership and auto sales experience from 2013, and I have 5 years of B2B SaaS marketing experience. My CTO, he's a full stack developer and a PhD in math from the USC. And Patrick Crowe's our COO with 7 years of startups and sales leadership experience. We're raising a $1 million pre-seed round with 225K committed, and that unlocks things like bringing our CTO full-time, development team, sales team, and the ability to finish our product and sell it. It also extends our runway from 5 months to 29 months. Looking at similar fundraising exits, you can see that this is a hot space, and it always leads to an exit. If this sounds exciting to you, please feel free to, the QR code's covered by the timer, but I'm going to be in the back. Feel free to connect with me, and let's change the way we buy and sell cars.
Can you go back to your competitor slide? And I want to ask you about where's your vulnerability? You've got pretty much everything checked off. What's not checked off for you guys right now?
So I think our vulnerability is actually something that's checked off, and that's a direct connection to the DMV. While that's something that builds our moat, it's something that's going to take a long time to develop, which is why our competitors aren't doing it.
Where you are in your journey currently, how many cars that you have physically gone through?
So right now we have 8 partners, 30 successful deliveries, and over 60 transactions. And we just surpassed, I believe we're at 25,000 revenue year to date so far.
And when exactly you started?
So the product went live in October 2022 doing just documents. We added shipping to that in April.
Thank you.
GTM? So the go-to-market strategy involves like these icons you see at the bottom. These are all classic car retailers or classic car marketplace platforms. The marketplaces are a little different because they're connecting a private party to a private party. So they need more help, right, on the back end, where a sale doesn't end when someone finds a car they want. They now have to complete the checkout process, where we come in. So with classic cars, it's a higher value per vehicle. The most expensive car we've transacted personally is a $300,000 Bugatti Persang from 1931. And something like that, they're not going to go to any platform like our competitors to handle. They're going to look for the car guys, and that's us.
There's always a trust factor. So how you are improving the user trust factor on your application specifically. And, like for instance, like one of my, like my friend was looking for a car to buy, and he went to the Facebook Marketplace, then they schedule a meeting, come face to face. So since you are completely virtual, doing all these things in the back end, how are you increasing the trust factor of the user?
So to increase the trust factor, we actually have something built into our payment system that's a payment escrow. So we hold funds in an escrow account until the sale is completed. So before the car is even sold, the seller's prompted to do a disclosure where what are the issues with the exterior of the vehicle, what are the issues with the mechanicals, what are the issues that you know of. And we can compare that disclosure to when the vehicle arrives. The buyer is prompted to say, yes, the vehicle is as described, or no, it isn't. And if it's no, we can start mediation.
You guys earn revenue 1% of the transaction as well, right?
Yeah, so I've got payment escrow is 3%, so that's like a premium feature that not everyone's going to need.
And do you have to pay to the third-party payment integration like Stripe, or what are you using in-house like?
So we have an integration with Stripe, and our costs are less than $5.
Cool. All right, over.
How long it takes to finish one transaction end to end?
I'm sorry?
How long it takes to finish one transaction end to end?
Yeah, so I've actually got a demo at the back table. For people not doing shipping and just doing the payments, the documents, and the home delivery, without home delivery, it takes about 2 minutes, 50 seconds. And with home delivery scheduling, it adds about 3 minutes to type in the address.
You are raising $1 million at $10 million post-money valuation. Looking at your traction data, why do you think that $10 million post-money is the right price?
It's in line with our competitors, and we have traction even though we're pre-product, so the product isn't complete. And we have such high demand that we're signing people up for pilots that aren't exactly ready yet. So if I go back to my traction slide, that red icon, JDM Buy Sell, they're a marketplace we talk to and we can pitch them the product, and they ended up investing on those terms as well. So they became an angel investor for us because they believe in the product and the capability that it enables them to do so much.
So they are part of the same round?
Yes.
A question on D&V integration. How much money is that going to take?
So we're starting discussions with PennDOT, which is Pennsylvania's Department of Transportation. That timeline looks like it's going to be 9 months for the first one, but we're going to drop that down to 3 months with every successful integration. But the good part is not all 50 states are going to take that long, because some states like California and Arizona and some of South Dakota, they're already digitally enabled, so they already accept information. So there's significantly less building to do, where that timeline's more weeks instead of months.
Is there a general geographic strategy? Are you focusing on a particular geography, especially as you're trying to get a lot of these brokers on board, dealers on board?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about vehicle transactions today in the classic space, they're already happening nationwide. So if I'm looking for a 1965 Shelby Cobra, I'm not going to go down to my local lot to find it because it's not going to be there. I know I'm shopping on a national level, which is why it works for our go-to-market strategy. So these guys are already all across the globe, but a lot of our buyers are in California and that Northeast region. So right now we're working really hard in California and Texas.
Are you guys thinking of moving beyond the cars as well in the future?
Yeah, so right now we can process transactions for RVs, motorcycles, and boats. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Let's take a minute to provide our feedback to Quay. By now you know the drill, right? And somebody back there said they might buy some whiskey too. I don't know, the NTEC keeps going up and up for feedback there, so I wasn't sure who said that, but I'll get that, gentleman, as long as I get the feedback from you all. So yeah, please provide the feedback, and let's welcome our next speaker, John with Rejuvenation. Here you go, John.
It's really a thrill to be here and an honor to share some really exciting data and an opportunity for everyone to benefit. Inside of our bodies, every day, stem cells are keeping us healthy and alive. And in order to do that, they need to be able to divide once in a while to produce some new cells to replace the old damaged cells that constantly are being generated just due to wear and tear of life. In order to be able to divide, we need to have what are called telomeres of a certain length or longer at the end of every one of our chromosomes. And every time a cell divides, the telomeres become shorter until they become critically short, and our stem cells can't divide, and that causes or exacerbates all of the major age-related diseases. If you extend telomeres in mice, you extend their health span and their lifespan by about 25%. And there's a lot of evidence that it'll work in humans too. People have been trying to do it in humans for over 2 decades. We found what we think is the best way. We're using the way the stem cells do it themselves. They express messenger RNA, which we all know from the COVID mRNA vaccines. They do it naturally, transiently, once in a while. We found a way to deliver messenger RNA into the body. We did this back in 2011, and we got the patents, and this is at Stanford University. The big challenge has been delivering messenger RNA to the stem cells. And in the last year, here at Rejuvenation, we've been able to deliver to 16 different tissues with a single formulation. So we're on the cusp of systemic telomere extension using this mechanism that stem cells use themselves. Based on this, we've received in the last 3 months $6 million in grants, $4 million from California, $2 million from the NIH. We just met with a VC with over 85 billion under management, and they're looking for a co-lead. And so we're here in part looking for a co-lead. Our seed round is still open. It's a 2.5 million round with 500,000 remaining. We are blessed to be supported by COSA, COSA round. We also have several other major investors involved. I'll just give a little quick view of the data. So this is a representation of telomere length. When we're born, they start long. As we age, they get shorter. When they're too short, our telomeres at the end of every chromosome can't form a loop, and this is deadly. It results in ultimately us not being able to regenerate our tissues because the cells say, I've got broken DNA. I'm going to kill myself. I can't. In a lung model of age-related disease, and a liver model of age-related disease, we've shown strong efficacy, almost entirely preserving lung function. We have a program at the bottom. We have lung and liver here. Oh, okay. I think I got the most important aspects out, so happy to answer questions.
Can you talk a little bit about your traction right now, that where you are in your journey?
Absolutely. So in therapeutics, the name of the game is data and regulatory milestones. The main regulatory milestones are IND approval or investigational new drug approval, and then that lets you start your clinical trial. We're currently just beginning to acquire the tox data in non-human primates to achieve that goal, and we plan to begin our clinical trial in 2025.
How much money you have raised till now? You mentioned that you got 6 million in grant. How much COSA invested?
Right, COSA has invested 2 million, and we've raised, in addition to the grants, a total of 10 million so far.
Till date, 16 million?
Correct.
And what are the terms of your current round that you are raising?
Y Combinator safe, 48 million cap, 20% discount.
Can you talk about the basically competitive landscape in this?
Yeah, so there are 4 ways of extending telomeres, and ours is the best. It's the one that stem cells use themselves, evolved by millions of years of evolution. So the proof is in what has worked. Other companies are pursuing small molecule activators. One company, Sierra Sciences, put millions into screening. We spoke with their founder and said, we'd like to try your best. He said, don't even bother. I've seen your data. Telomerase mRNA, our drug, is over 1,000 times more effective. And others, telomerase DNA, that immortalizes cells. It's basically what happens in cancer. And the fourth is telomerase protein. That's very, very difficult to deliver without causing major toxicity. So basically, we have the patent, the exclusive worldwide patent, filed by Stanford, granted in multiple countries, including the US, Europe, Japan, on the best way.
Thank you.
So out of total money that you're going to raise, how much you are going to keep it for the R&D, and how much you're going to put in money for the business or scale that point? And at what iteration of research you are at currently?
Great question. Approximately 1/4 will go to R&D to develop future. We've synthesized over 100 different messenger RNAs, including 100 different anti-aging genes. So great question. And then the other 3/4 will go to specifically the clinical trial for telomerase messenger RNA for telomere extension. And we're pursuing multiple modalities. We think that combination therapy is ultimately what's going to be needed in order to successfully return back the clock on all of the mechanisms of aging. Telomeres are probably the most fundamental, and they drive many of the other mechanisms. But really, it's going to be a combination therapy, which will ultimately keep us living into our hundreds as a normal thing, healthily.
Wow. Who is on the team right now, and who are the partners and advisors that are helping you get through the regulatory process?
Yeah. Our chief medical officer is already running clinical trials to extend telomeres using a small molecule, and he's so happy to have something much better. Our chief financial officer worked at Centerview, JP Morgan, 20 years in biotech. We have a clinical advisory board, 6 for pulmonary fibrosis, 4 for liver, and we're expanding now into immune system.
Case scenario, and what's your worst case scenario?
Our best case scenario is that in our phase 1 trial, when our exploratory endpoints will include delayed onset of all major diseases, that we see signs of biological efficacy in those major diseases, and then we'll be able to run phase 2 trials with the same drug product to reduce risk of cardiovascular events, reduce risk of cancer, etc. That's the best case. Worst case is that we have an adverse event in our phase 1, which we are not expecting, but it could happen. And this would be a major PR blow, but fundamentally the technology is sound, and we're doing everything we can to minimize the chance of that. We all know from the COVID mRNA vaccines that there is a chance of an adverse reaction, so you can treat with epinephrine, and that basically takes care of the problem, but you do need to be vigilant.
So I just want to go back to applications. So is this mainly for like acute illnesses? Is this for preventative maintenance, or is this for kind of just general wellness, or kind of talk about your application?
It's both. We'll get approval to treat acute disease, to treat disease that is already well underway. It's much easier to get approval for those. But ultimately, the wise way to extend telomeres and basically to live as preventively, as you mentioned, and that's what we want. We want to have ultimately a reimbursement model for an annual telomere extension shot.
Can I just throw in, what kind of an exit are you planning for?
Sorry?
What's your exit strategy?
Oh, IPO. We're hoping to IPO when actually, we've been told that we should do it now because it has so much public appeal, but we want to maintain control for a while at least. So yeah, we're aiming for that. We could out-license for specific indications as well and reinvest the funds. And what we've been told by Khosla would be really, really valuable is if we were able to do the phase 3 study ourselves, which is going to cost over $100 million, because really the biggest inflection point is after you get phase 3 approval. So.
Just one last question. You mentioned that you want to go IPO, but in between there is a multiple years that you are going to go through. Who are your potential buyers if you want to exit before that? Like maybe at the phase 1, maybe at the phase 2.
Yeah, we've spoken with probably over a dozen pharma companies. We have strong interest. If it worst came to worst, which I don't think it will, then I think one of the pharma companies would scoop it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next company is KidsCare. Let's have a picture. And meanwhile, if you can please provide the feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. And I was just observing the numbers have gone up really. This crowd does love its alcohol. So any startups pitching a beverage or alcohol today, I think this is your crowd. Not for you? All right, anyhow, I think this is our last presentation before the break, and that is KidsCare. Olivia, you ready? All right.
$57 million is the amount of money lost in the United States every single year due to childcare issues. At a time where the gender pay gap is at the lowest rate in history and 77% of employers are struggling to attract talent, millions of parents are at risk of being forced out of the workplace due to the childcare crisis. Not to mention actively searching for childcare or any programs for your kids can leave parents everywhere feeling like that. The childcare crisis is not a family issue. It's an American issue. My name is Olivia Rutman, and I am the founder and CEO of Kids Care Finder. Kids Care Finder is a one-stop shop website that connects parents with all of the child-related service providers they need for their kids from birth to grown in one place. We serve babies, toddlers, school-age kids, and even the scariest age group, the moody teenagers. And the best part is, our platform is free for families to use. We also have the most comprehensive offering on the market, proprietary functionality that helps cut down on tedious paperwork, and comprehensive filtering capabilities. We make our revenue from provider subscription fees, advertising revenue, ad hoc user fees, and data selling. Our go-to-market plan balances adding new counties to our footprint and new categories as we expand throughout California. We're currently launched in San Diego County with our first 3 categories, and we just soft launched in Riverside County. Our marketing strategy encompasses a number of different methods, including events, digital marketing and SEO, social media and influencers. We've also been featured on CBS News 8, in the Times of San Diego, and on Women's Radio Hour. And we have the famous KCF Mobile, which you can see me driving around in all over SoCal. The childcare market alone is worth over $60 billion, and that's just a small fraction of the total scope that we cover. In just our first 4 categories, there are 40,000 providers in California. If a quarter of those providers sign up, that equates to $3 million in revenue, and we'll have more than 4 categories launched before the end of this year, so we're confident we can hit that in 2024 with at least half of it being profit. We have an incredible team in place to execute on this concept, but we can still use the help of some wonderful investors to catapult us forward. We're raising $1 million split between this year and next year via a safe structure, so we're looking to close $500,000 before year end. Kids Care Finder will help ease the childcare crisis for families all over America.
So thank you, and I appreciate the traction that you shared that you have so far. What is your plan to scale? That's going to be your challenge, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we really built the technology to scale, so we're able to very quickly add new categories. So really it's a matter of awareness. And that's really where the digital marketing, the SEO, and the social media come into play, is helping create that awareness as we grow to new markets. We do have a provider outreach team that is small but mighty, that's reaching out to providers to get them to sign up a month in advance before we launch in a new area or with a new category. We give those providers that first month free while we ramp them up into the system, and then we start launching to the parents basically through social media and Google Ads and SEO.
How do you screen your providers?
So the providers sign themselves on our website. We have a questionnaire. Everything is automated. So if it's a licensed childcare provider that's licensed through the state, then they go on and they give us our license number, and we verify with the state that their license is active and in good standing. If it's an unlicensed provider, then they'll be required to clear a basic background check when they sign up. And then the parents have, for those providers, options to run an even more comprehensive one before hiring, but they'll at least have cleared a basic one. And we also have reviews and ability to request references.
How do you make money?
So the provider subscription fees are one, advertising revenues is another. Users, which would be the parents, pay for things like background checks, online enrollment, or online applications. So while we don't charge them to find a provider, there are some additional services that they could pay for once they found one that they like. And then we also think data selling is really a big potential, even just the demographic and basic information that we'll have on, you know, all of the different providers and parents will be very valuable for revenue as well.
Which is the market you're currently targeting. What are your revenues like?
So we just launched here in August is really when we started our provider outreach. So we're still early stage, but we did start generating our first revenue dollars in September. We have not actually started digital marketing and SEO yet, so we do have some revenue dollars that have come in. They're low, but we just launched and we still have some providers that are on their free trials that are coming due. So over the next month, that'll start to pick up. And then when we launch a couple of new categories, we'll have another round of providers that subscribe.
On the same question, you mentioned one of your revenue model is like data selling. From the legal standpoint of view, do you think it's going to be going to be challenging in the future? And what are the parameters of data that you are selling?
Yeah, I think we would approach it very, very cautiously at first and really focus just on like basic demographic information, not even necessarily selling personal data at first, right? There might be some affiliate and partnership types things like for the providers, targeted advertises for childcare facilities and things like that. So we would approach it very cautiously. You know, honestly, with the track and how many providers and how big the California market is, we're confident we can get to 50 million in California without data selling. So that would just sort of be the icing on top if we want to do some of it cautiously in some sort of surface level data selling.
How are you creating the providers, let's say in one specific region, in one specific category? Like, do you have multiple providers, or you are just like sticking with one and giving them more clients going forward?
No, any provider in any category can sign up. So if they're licensed for daycares or preschools, right, we have daycares, preschools, and home daycares right now. So any of those providers who are licensed and in good standing are able to sign up right now. And then we have different account level options. So maybe if they don't have space, but they still want to be on there, they can have a basic account, which is free. If they want to stand out to users, use waitlist and messaging and all these great functionalities that we have, then we have a premium option. And if they have, you know, maybe a brand new place or a lot of spaces to fill, then we have a sponsored option that appears at the top of the results and really helps make them stand out.
Support from your side, or it's not on your?
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't had a lot of issues so far because everything is pretty self-service. The providers can sign up, the parents can sign up, the parents can filter it way down, just find the providers that they need. We haven't had a heavy support volume as of now, so we'll kind of see how that goes as we scale, but we haven't had a high volume.
How many user and provider you have on your platform right now?
We're just under 200, so we have 200 new accounts since August, and again, we haven't done any digital marketing or SEO yet. We just signed on with a marketing agency who's starting that process right now, but our domain strength doubled on its own in the last couple months, so that's always good, but yeah, we'll really start picking up those advertising efforts now in the fall.
And what is your target towards the end of this year and the next year for
revenue?
No, just the
number of users?
User and provider and revenue.
Yeah, so I would like to hit definitely 1,000 users total by the end of this year, and then by the end of Q1, I'd like to get to 5,000.
What about competition?
So as far as our competitive advantage goes, there's not somebody today who's trying to create this one-stop shop. So our competitors are very specific in a couple of categories. So Care.com plays really heavy in babysitters and nannies, but there's only 2 of our categories, and nobody likes Care.com. Then we have a couple others that have started to try to play in just the preschool or daycare space. All of these competitors charge the parents to search, which deters them away from the platforms. And now we have created this horrible behavior where parents are hiring caregivers off of social media with no background check, no references or anything, because they don't want to use these platforms where they pay to search.
Excellent. Give her a hand, please. All right. All right. Stay here. Take a picture. Let's please thank our esteemed judges, Alan, Maisha, Amy, Vishal, and Ash. Good job. Good questions. Thank you very much. And now is the part you all been waiting for. It's time for a break. We take a picture, I guess. Us guys come up here. But yes, we're going to turn on the lights. Let's get these lights back on. Is it too dark in here? We're trying to balance the screen lightness with the Yeah, it seems dark to me, but we maybe turn off the spot and turn on the house lights. So in about 15 minutes here, go ahead and mingle. There's some snacks over here. Please visit the tables in back. There's a lot of people here who'd like to meet you. Interviews. And if folks are available, you want to come over here to the camera or in the back corner. We're taping some video interviews. We'd love to have your opinion. And
be thinking about how to have a successful partnership with my co-founder.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Probably don't need that.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Where do we get the headshots? Is that over there?
It's going to be over there where that light is at.
Perfect.
That
Thank
big
you.
light. You're live now?
Hi, you're your first.
I'm going to get this one. I need to get the judges. 5 judges.
Is your lead in life science space or I mean,
Sorry.
pretty closely with
He's also there.
Hello, sorry to interrupt. You guys are doing a great job as judges. But just to let you know, we're, yeah, so we're doing these quick interviews, just your name of your company, or what you're taking away from today's event.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, right there by the backdrop. Okay. All right. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. We're doing quick 30-second interviews. I'm not sure if it's something you'd be interested in. Just right there in the backdrop, we're asking just for your name, the name of your company, and what you're taking away from today's event. Yeah, something you'd be interested in?
We'll stop by for sure. Yeah, we'll stop by later.
Okay, awesome. Thank you
very much.
No, thank you.
We should get right after the headshots taken.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that means that there's someone interested. Okay, I want to get this guy right here too. I'm just waiting for him to finish. But yeah,
I can help you out and hit you.
Hello.
I'll do it.
Very nice. A lot of times, you know, the small is better than the small is better.
The mic in my hair. bother you with like maybe 30 seconds of your time? Just to do my name is Fran, I'm with the media team for today.
Yep, I didn't catch your name.
Fran.
Fran, real pleasure.
Yeah. We're just asking people to just introduce themselves and talk to us about what you're taking away from today's event. Just like maybe like 20
I brought in, I'm an investor, I'm part of a lot of investment groups, I'm part of TIE, one of the organizing here, I'm part of Texas Angels, I'm an entrepreneur, I brought in 5 companies from across the country.
Wow, okay, so definitely, we're gonna, if we can go right here and then we'll just interview you and we'll record it.
30 seconds?
30 seconds. Yeah, so we'll head right here.
Give me your card as well.
Oh, yes.
Are you part of
Yes, he's my father.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow, you guys are doing some seriously good work.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be up to here.
That's fine.
I'm gonna put this. It's a
absolutely.
microphone.
Yep. Is it monologue or Q&A?
It's like
Just speak?
Just speak. It's gonna be these 3 questions. So name of company, and what are you taking away from today's event?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have this here for reference, but you can just speak.
Absolutely. I'm part of 3 or 4 different organizations, so it's good to mention all of them, right? Okay, very good. Very good. Hi, my name is Raghu Iyer. I'm from San Diego, California. So I'm part of multiple organizations. I am part of NextCube, which is an early stage investor accelerator. You know, the way we have a portfolio of 80 companies. So I'm also representing TIE SoCal Angels and Tech Coast Angel, which is organizing this event. I've also brought in 5 companies that I have invested in and I advise. They are presenters here. These are very smart companies in pharma tech, digital health, fintech, and they are from across the North American continent. There's PharmaJet from Denver. There is NCRI from New York City. There is a company called Ear Access. They are from Montreal, Canada. And closer to home, there is a very smart startup from Stanford University called Rejuvenation Tech. They also pitched. They're in cancer research and mRNA research. And the last one is called Bodymetrics, which is a wearable. And my key takeaway from here is to connect with fellow investors, world-class smart companies, and also help in my own way. I also have a strategic advisory firm which helps startups scale and grow. Thank you so much. And you and your team are doing well.
All right, thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
Fran,
yes.
Fran, and you are?
Abraham.
I took your dad's card.
Oh, yeah, he is Francisco.
This is mine. You should write your name. I don't want to forget a name, you know what I mean? Keep your card. I don't like to.
Yeah, well, my name is like this, Fran.
Francisco, and he's Abraham.
Yeah, Abraham, my dad's Francisco, and my name is Fran.
Can you write it down? Do you have a pen? Oh, there's a pen over there.
Yeah, let me borrow it. Thank you so much.
If people want to know about provide products for them.
Why they're now a new company that's emerged.
Okay.
They're bigger than Divis and they merged with another major player. What they told us is that one of the closest they're tracking the emerging market are you see over the counter innovation, which is
Great. I graduated from college.
Which one?
Cal State Poly Pomona.
Cool school, yeah. You study engineering or business?
Communication.
Very nice. Good school.
Yes.
My daughter almost went to SLO, Cal Poly SLO, right? The sister campus. Basically, Thanks for the interview. Take a picture of mine.
Oh, yes.
Send it to me. Send me the video if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, yes. To your email?
Yeah. Email, text. Yeah, email is good. Sorry, I'm at a investor conference in New York. It's all beaten up.
Yes. So we'll send you your
You got wonderful kids, my friend. Good work. Thanks a lot.
And then I'm sure we'll have.
Oh yeah, today I traded. Give me a call, you know, and
Maybe we should keep it on.
Hi everyone, my name is Sylvia Gutierrez. I'm an economic development specialist with the U.S. Small Business Administration. And I'm here with the U.S. Small Business Administration representing the Orange County Inland Empire District Office. And one of the things that I'm taking away is the number of companies interested in finding opportunities to find investors. And I want to make sure that they know that the SBA has the Small Business Development Center, which is a high-tech SBDC, to prepare companies and business owners so that they can go in front of investors and find the funds that they need to grow their companies. And as well, they will find counseling and technical assistance to assist them in growing and starting their company. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Ramunis, and I'm the CEO of Rejuvenation Technologies. And what I've learned today at Startup Game Changer is that it's probably a good idea to consider IPOing before clinical trials if you're a therapeutics company.
Learn and interact with other people, like-minded people, and I take so many things at home.
About your IT systems and security, making sure that you're not susceptible to those types of issues. And last but not least, the service that I think you need is state and international tax issues. So I heard a couple of earlier today, international flavor. I'm going to go global. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Well, there's some tax ramifications. There's some planning involved with doing those types of things. And just on an aside, I had a call earlier today with somebody, and they said they were a growth company. And they said they filed in all 50 states, tax returns in all 50 states. And my first question was, how did you do that? Sometimes it costs you money to actually file returns in all states, and maybe you don't need to. So what we like to say is, we can help you analyze that. We can help you look through, what states you should be filing taxes in. We can help you arrange and make accommodations for international tax structures, help you save money. So I hope that these 4 tips and tricks were super interesting to you, and hopefully we can engage with you on those 4 new services. So come visit us. We have a booth in the back, and Alan with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Another sponsor is Ramon Law Hack Mamajan. He is, I think, stuck in traffic, but you will hear from him in a separate session on legal aspects for your startups a little bit later this afternoon. And of course, we have Scott Fox, who is a sponsor, a co-creator of this event of Orange County Startup Council.
Thank you, Ashish. Hey, it's me again. All right. Okay, thank you. So first order of business I didn't do earlier. Those of you who come to my events can probably guess. It's time for a selfie. So everybody, look like you're having a good time. Even if you're not, please, just play along for a second. Whoa, that light. Can you turn off the spot for a second? Yeah, there we go. I'll stand in front of it. There we go. Okay, everybody wave. Yay, startups, say money. All right, so look for that on LinkedIn, and I'll tag all of you. Not really, but I'll try. Okay, so the Orange County Startup Council, as you heard, is the local organization that I started several years ago because I was frustrated when I moved here and I couldn't find you all. So now we're all here, and the key is we need to keep in touch. So the Startup Council, as I've said a couple times now, this is the URL. Go there. If you're not on the newsletters list, you should be. And if you need a reminder, you can go to the table in the corner and scan the QR code. Or there are cards. If you're old school, we have cards. While I'm here, I want to tell you about our most popular service. That's all digital. But in the real world, I run masterminds workshops. I've been doing these every month since 2017, even throughout the pandemic. And how many of you here have been to those? Okay, a fair number. All right, so how many of you would go again? Okay, fair enough. Okay, so there you go. So the rest of you, if that sounds interesting, it's kind of like this, but like just this many of us together, and it's $20, or it's free if you bring a question, all right? So just bring a question, and we'll talk, and we'll try to help you. And the people here that are investors, many of the investors in the room have also supported this effort. Co-sponsored with my friends at TCA, for example, and we're just trying to help you. So if you haven't been to one of those, then go on the table and back, and our logo looks like this. It's red. Grab this card. Okay, third, need to change the slide. Whoop, whoop. So we started something new that I was trying to, we've been doing this in Orange County for several years now, and it turns out that once you're online, you can do it all over America and all over the world, of course, right? So the Startup Council is now going global. So startupcouncil.org is the parent site of the Orange County one. And we invite you to come there, if you're founders especially, because what I'm trying to do is help more founders. I'm a serial had all the resources that we have today back in the 90s, I probably wouldn't have had to raise money and almost bankrupt myself by my first startup failing. It's a very hard road, and I'm trying to make it easier by filling in small gaps that I see in the market. I'm an entrepreneur still, even though I'm mostly an investor now. So these are, so you can scan this, that'll just take you to the website, not very high tech, but these are 4 or 5 examples of the services that we have there. So I'd like you to go and check out, for example, well, the Startup Office Hours. I'm on YouTube once a month, free, just live stream, come and ask questions, trying to help people. This is the only calendar in the world, I think, of startup events only for founders, only virtual. So you don't have to live in Palo Alto anymore. You don't have to live in the Bay Area. People, whether you're in Paris or Prague, you can get online and subscribe to that, and we will send you lists of educational networking and fundraising events that you can attend to build the relationships that you need in order to raise money and grow your companies. The masterminds groups I talked about, Startup Investors Directory. This is another thing I built because I got so frustrated myself as a founder, and now after years of running workshops for you folks, you coming to me saying, how do I find investors? I don't want to pay for PitchBook. It's $12,000 fucking dollars. Like what? That is not helpful, right? As an early stage founder. So this is 3,000 early stage founders all in one place, and they're categorized in a way that I've never seen. Also, we have over 50 different search categories. So of course, there's stage, sector, angel versus VC versus lender, that kind of thing. But there's also unique things like for black founders or women founders or immigrant founders or first-time founders or rural founders or veterans, trying to surface and help the underrepresented founders in the world to find investors that are interested in their unique approach. And I hope that that might be helpful to you as well. Similarly, the reverse side of that is this one, National Startups Directory. It's the same idea, but just flipped. You come and put your startup up, and we create a directory so that it's in a standardized format so that me and my investor friends can find you more easily. We'll have dozens, hundreds of startups all there in one place in a standardized format so that people can find you. And again, not just search on sector or amount raised, but also on whether you happen to be a female founder or some other underrepresented category. So trying to do all these little pieces to fill in the cracks so that you all can build better companies faster. All right, so startupcouncil.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And last but not the least, Startup Steroid, which is also a co-partner in this event, and just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the Startup Steroid platform, which is the world's only fully integrated deal flow platform, right from taking a startup input all the way going through the journey of screening a company, doing your due diligence, communicating with them, making an offer if you decide to invest in it, and either create a fund on the platform or create SPV and then invest in it. Not only invest in it, then keep track of the portfolio through the life of the investment. So that's the Startup Steroid platform. It has a lot of components to it, and some of the components you are seeing in action today, which is our demo day, where you are able to, in real time, provide feedback to the founders and also do live rating and judging of the pitches, which is a very, very important aspect of the overall pitching sessions whenever you are having it, whether it's in a university setting or in an angel group or in a VC group. Getting people in the room is hard enough, but then getting some information back from them in an actionable way is what we are able to provide through this integration. And this is fully integrated back in the Dealflow platform. So even 1 or 2 years later, you can say, oh, why did we not invest in this company, or what happened? Well, here is your data. This is what the reaction was from the investors, or why did we make this decision? So it's really important, and even for founders, you can actually provide all this feedback in real time. In fact, all the feedback you provided this afternoon is already in the email box of the founders who presented. So they are already, maybe they can come to you during the Steelcraft happy hour saying, hey, you just rated me 8 on this, can we talk about this? So be ready for some of those questions and interactions. It's all about democratizing this whole angel investing process. One big thing which we had noticed in our own angel investment journey is this whole disconnect between deal flow and creating a SPV. So a lot of people are doing deal flow on their Excel spreadsheets or in an Airtable or maybe a software, but then they are going outside to either a lawyer and a CPA or going to some platforms to create a SPV. So the data is in 2 or 3 places already, and then you are going to a third platform for portfolio management. With our SPV hub, which is integrated, now with one click of a button, Angel Group administrator can organize a SPV. We take care of all of the aspects, including the incorporation, the blue sky filing, getting the wires in, wiring the money back, getting the document signed, and then 7 to 10 years of accounting and K1s, everything is included in one flat price through the SPV hub. And again, we are the only one which has a fully dedicated native app on both Android and iPhone. So all the deal flow is really in the pocket of your hand. Not only you can see all the companies, you can rate them, you can indicate your interest in those, and if there is a SPV open for those, a special purpose vehicle, then you can actually sign all the documents from the app, wire the money, and be a participant in that particular SPV. So the power of the investing is in palm of your hand, literally. That's about it for Startup Steroid. Now we are going to go back to our pitching. We have 6 more companies, and I would like to invite the esteemed judges onto the stage now. And during the breaks, the first batch of judges said that it was too hard for them to sit here and try to pause this. So if you want, we can put the chairs right down there, whatever choice you want, you know. Would that work better for you? Yeah? Or actually we have 4 judges this time, right? We don't want you to be twisting your neck too much, David, because you have to twist the ears of the founders sometimes, right? But yeah, I think that angle might be better. So the companies who are going to be presenting up, Bodymetrics, I see you are already there. So without further ado, let me just again remind you all of the app. Let's make sure we pull up the app after each of these presentations and are ready for providing our feedback. Let me pull up the presentation for Bodymetrics. This one? That's it. Right now? Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Neil Friedman. I'm the co-founder Bodymetrics and COO with Mark Getlin, who's CEO. And Bodymetrics has several medical products, but our key product is the Circle Ring, which you're seeing here. When I woke up this morning, I actually got an email saying that they couldn't find my presentation, so I thought I'd change it a little bit today for you. I often speak to people and say to them that the word wearable is the incorrect word for the industry. The proper word should be sensors. And the key to sensors is the stability of the sensor. I'm sure you've seen Apple, you've seen Fitbit or Aura. All those devices move and are not stabilized. The people who wear those are what we call the healthy people. They want to see numbers about themselves, want to feel good about themselves, and want to have a great app. But they really don't want to see anything that might not make them happy, okay? Circle is what we call the healthy side of the area. And what we deliver is medical metrics. And I'd like to tell you about some of the current events that have recently happened to us, and it'll really give you a better understanding about our business. First of all, on August the 10th, the Mayo Clinic released a peer-reviewed study saying that we do not have a pigmentation problem. What does that mean? Well, during COVID, hundreds of thousands of people of color, from Chinese to black, died of COVID using fingertip oximetry and wearable devices. On August 29th, we received the first, it's actually a landmark approval by the FDA, which states because of our form factor, which is a patented form factor, that we do not have a pigmentation problem. This is very, very unique, and is really now we're presenting to all the hospitals, the payers, the insurance companies, the CROs, the dashboards of the world, and the retailers a solution that was never out there before, so that we can deliver accurate medical metrics. Some of the things that the Circle Ring does is we do continuous blood oxygen, we do continuous heart rate, we do continuous finger temperature, we do continuous heart rate variability, and we also have an ECG and blood pressure device on our Circle Ring. We signed a contract with Kaiser 3 years ago, and Kaiser is beginning to start to distribute our ring to all their pulmonary patients. By the way, we went through 4 years of testing prior to Kaiser signing that contract. We also, I guess that's it, and I'll prepare for questions.
So I'll start. So what's your current revenue today? Or do you have a product out today? We haven't.
Right.
We didn't see slides.
So just so you know, we've distributed 70,000 devices into the marketplace and done over $6 million over the last 6 years.
Okay. And what's your ask? What do you ask?
We currently have a note out, a $3 million note, which already we have $1 million on, and it's a 25% discount at 10% interest.
And your market cap right now?
Is $30 million.
David, what's your background?
Neil.
Neil. Right.
David's next to you.
Same last name. That's right.
Same last name, different
That's
mother.
Right.
Anyway, my background is I'm an entrepreneur. I've had the good fortune of working in several different industries. Some I've been successful with, some I haven't. But this is really my passion. And I also want to tell you about some of my other passions real quickly. The incredible thing about the Circle Ring is, I don't know if you all are aware of the burn pit problem. President Biden's son, Beau, died of cancer. And the burn pits, when we go into a country, into whether it be Iraq or Afghanistan, typically our military clears out 200 yards one way and 200 yards the other way, and they burn their garbage there. Well, unfortunately, we've now found that all the men that have served in the armed forces in those areas have respiratory problems. And the PACT Act, which was just enacted, which is for $460 billion act, the key doctor for the PACT Act has said that the Circle Ring will be used as the screening device for our veterans. And that's a real big passion of mine. My other passion is we have man-made and natural emergencies that are occurring. For example, when trains roll over and gases are emitted from the train and respiratory problems occur. Our government comes in, we know how to fix the problem, we know how to get the trains back up right, we know how to clean up, but we don't take care of the people. I'm working with a company called Kerasoft, who we partner with, who is a privately held company, the largest government contractor in the United States, close to $1 trillion worth of contracts. And we are working with the federal, state, and municipalities to get the Circle Ring into the toolkit of all of these different institutions, so that when people are in the environment they're encountered.
Neil, I have a question. Let me ask you a quick question. I mean, I'm going to be my snarky self, because if I'm not, no one will appreciate it here. But you know, you said you made $6 million in sales. You're asking for $30 million valuation to an investor. And now, at the last minute, you're telling me you have a relationship that'll enable you to grow. Why didn't you tell me that to begin with? Because I frankly can care less. I mean, I have an Oura Ring on. I mean, that's good enough, and feature-wise, yeah.
It's not.
But my point on all this is it's irrelevant. When you make a pitch, I'm just going to give you this piece of advice. Make sure you understand what the investor wants. If you have revenue and you're growing and you're asking for money on a high valuation, which is $30 million, tell us how you're going to use the money you're getting to help grow to make that $30 million look like a bargain.
Okay.
That's my basic fundamental point that I think will help you in good stead long term. But just competing on features, pulse ox, yeah, big deal. I have this, I have that. I have so many sensors on my body, I'm not sure which one do you look at. So just think about it from an investor point of view, not from your product point of view.
Okay, fine. Well, we're going to use the monies that we raise to expand our marketing, to expand our regulatory world, and expand our product mix.
Yeah, when you do it in the future, just reverse your presentation. That's the point.
It's pretty hard to make a 3-minute presentation.
Very easy, because you have basically one point. I have this relationship that'll give me more money. That's impressive. The other stuff is irrelevant to me right now.
Okay.
Great. I'll be very quick. Can you tell us a little bit about your pricing strategy and also your business model here?
Sure. Okay, so we sell on Amazon, so we sell to the consumer. We also sell to the federal government, to the VA and the DOD, and we sell it to them at a discounted price of $255. Our price that we purchased the product for, just so you know, is $80. Okay, so it's incredibly large margins.
And where are you producing?
We produce in China, but we are moving our facilities to 2 different places. We're moving into Texas, and we're also going to be moving into the UAE. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Let's take a picture. All right, and in the hustle of trying to get you properly situated, I apologize, but I forgot to have you introduce yourself. So if you don't mind, please, all of you give a 30-minute introduction to the audience. 30 seconds. Sorry. I need my coffee. 30 seconds. 30 minutes would be, I think 30 minutes we can do, but maybe later.
Yes, it's me again. I'm Jasmine, the Director of Investment Department, Sunstone. So we are number 7 active VC investors according to PitchBook, and we are looking for those good deals like you guys. So yeah, looking forward to the presentation today.
Yeah, hi, I'm David Friedman. I'm chairman of Tech Coast Angels. We're 400 members in 5 networks. LA, Orange County, Pasadena, Inland Empire, and a group called Meta Angels, which specializes in medical. We're looking for the best deals, and the only thing that I really care about hearing is, do I want to hear more? Is there enough information in the 3-minute pitch or 5-minute pitch to say this makes sense, and then we set up a separate meeting?
Brenda McCabe, Next Act Advisors. I'm an angel investor, and I am also a member of the Thai SoCal Angel Fund and the Women's Fund. I've been investing for over 15 years. I largely look at 4 verticals: clean tech, that's renewable energy, enterprise software, digital health, and biotech. Thank you.
And lastly, Glenn Rogers, also with Tech Coast Angels and Hangar 75 Ventures, where we bring startups in and launch them. And then prior to that, spent 25 years at Accenture running large ERP implementations globally.
Thank you so much. And I met a lot of founders here who were saying we need to meet investors. Well, here are your investors, at least 4 of them, and a lot down there. So as Scott said earlier, go out, network, at least try to talk to 3 to 5 people who you haven't met before and do some networking. With that, I'm going to call up Sklanet. All right, and let me make sure everybody gave their feedback for body metrics. Okay, and let's go to Sklanet. Here you go. Here's your clicker.
Hi there, my name is Murali Kandlagunta. I'm the founder and CEO of Sklanet Inc. Our journey started when I visited an Amazon Go store, and I was blown away by the experience. But I saw like zillions of cameras up top and countless sensors trying to make this happen. First thing I realized was this was not scalable to existing ecosystem. And the second thing I realized was they're more trying to exclude the existing ecosystem. So we started discussing this with many of the convenience stores or retailers, and they felt the same way. So we decided to help them. So we started digging into their challenges, and we found that most of their challenges are interlinked and fundamentally related to the retail kryptonite, which is labor challenges. So, and existing solutions in the market are fragmented, and they're trying to address these interlinked challenges. So what we so what we came up with an integrated solution. So our solution includes this marketplace super app combined with a multitasking super robot. Both are powered by AI and computer vision. So our multitasking robot, in conjunction with the app, can do checkout and verification, inventory management and restocking or stocking. It can also take orders and deliver it to you in your parking lot or at the gas pump. So with our solution, the retailers can avail a healthy increase in profitability of over 15%. And then our business model has a potential to make over 100K per store annually. That's for all you investors. And then we have a stellar team. My co-founders are have experiences in Google and Amazon. I have a rockstar CSGO who's been COO for Murphy USA in the past. And I have a Caltech PhD helping us, who has built robotics for space. And when it comes to me, I have experience in NASA as well as Stanford SLAC. I have also MSME and Kellogg MBA. And finally, when it comes to traction, we have LOIs established with convenience stores, and we're in talks with very big players in convenience store industry. You see, convenience store is our starting point. We plan to expand into other retail as well. And finally, whenever we talk about our product to any of our customers, first thing they say is like, this is too good to be true. You will rain money if you build it. So guess what? We're building too good to be true. Thank you for your time, and I'll take questions now.
There it goes. Interesting presentation. So I would want to know more, so you got to me on that point. But how much are you asking for, and what's your valuation? And then I have one other quick question.
Right now, we are asking for $4 million at 20%. Yeah.
And what's your valuation?
That would be around 20 million. Yeah.
And how did you get that?
That was my next question.
How did you what?
How did you get to your valuation at 20 million?
So basically, like, our product is almost ready because it involves AI tech as well. What we are doing is computer vision. It's not just barcode scanning. You can put 5 or 10 products on the tray that you see over there. It can instantly recognize those products. Our AI is so good that even if the products are almost similar, it's detecting that. And it will display it on its screen and do that. Yes.
So at the airports, right? They have some of this, right? Yeah. You go through an airport, you take stuff off the counter, you put it on the machine, it knows it's there, it prices it out, and gives it to you.
Yeah.
What makes your product different?
The product different is like we are using the existing ecosystem. Like many convenience stores cannot actually use that technology because it requires a lot of strategically placed cameras, strategically placed sensors, and what we are giving them is like keep your store as is. But we take the technology, we take the complexity of automating, and you focus on the business. So we are saving on labor, we are saving on inventory, we are saving on scaling as well, because even if you have a 30 orders per shift, you have to hire somebody to give it outside your store. So that's our value proposition, and that's why we're building a multitasking robot, because we know that if we build a robot that just do one task, it's not going to be successful. So we want to give the best value to our customers.
What's the retail price?
A retail price would be around the same as an employee, an hourly employee. So it'll be around 25 to 27K. But we are doing the RaaS model as well, which will include all the maintenance as well as upgrading as well. Yeah.
And have you considered your pricing to also, because you're saving them around 15% in shrinkage and the like, do you have any guarantees?
Pardon, I'm sorry?
Have you considered changing your pricing on the savings that you're...
Yeah, I mean, like we have lot more room to play in the pricing, definitely, because we are saving a ton of money. This was our our saving model for the retailers was vetted by our incredible CSGO. So we also vetted that with some of the convenience store customers that we are working with. So yeah, we have room to play, but we want to be conservative as well in the starting, because we want to see how our product develops and how our AI develops as well.
Yeah, I have two quick questions. The first question, why convenience store? What are the personas of your target customers? The second question will be, what is your go-to-market strategy right now? Because you already signed 5 convenience stores. What is their feedback on your product?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The first question is like, why convenience store? That's because the product count is very less. We don't want to go into a bigger players, because our AI model, it needs to recognize all the products. With the convenience stores, you have around 3,000 to 5,000 SKUs, but as you go up, that's our next stage, it'll be like Walgreens or CVS Market. That'll be maybe 50,000 SKUs. So we want to slowly grow there. I'm sorry, I forgot the second question.
What is go-to-market strategy for targeting those people?
So right now, the go-to-market strategy is trying to get the LOIs with the convenience stores, and then start deploying our robot and testing there, and showing them how we can save the money, and then start selling the robots in 6 to 7 months. Yeah.
And do you have any patents on this right now?
Yes, we have patents filed as a...
What kind of patents?
The patent is like the multifunctional of that, of the robot. There is no robot that has done operated in it, and that's one thing that we have.
And where can we see this in operation right now? Do you have it in prototype or trial?
No. Well, our prototype will be ready next month, and then we plan to deploy in convenience stores, and then go to CES. We are doing the big unveil in CES and as well as NRF.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Murli.
All right, please kindly provide the feedback right there. That's a QR code. Folks, please provide your feedback while we get ready for our next presenter. Ear access. Audra. All right, are you ready? Give me a second to get you started.
Imagine you couldn't hear. That's the reality of over 1.5 billion people worldwide. People like my father and my aunt who developed hearing loss as kids in Romania. Of all these people, 90% can benefit from hearing aids, but fewer than 9% have access to them. Only 20 million units are sold worldwide annually. This is a $230 billion potential market for affordable hearing aids. So what are the issues? First of all, hearing services are not widely available. Secondly, it's very old school distribution, so low volume, high margins, typically sold in audiology clinics. And third, hearing aids are priced very high at an average of $2,000 a unit, yet they cost as little as $50 to manufacture. At Ear Access, we're looking to disrupt this industry, making hearing aids and services available, affordable, and accessible. We price our products at least 70% less than comparable options while still maintaining over 50% gross margins. We also create alternative distribution networks working through pharmacies, and we train people on the ground through a proprietary training program to become hearing technicians. We seek to be a one-stop solution, which includes 6 different types of hearing aids, but also a teleaudiology platform that we're building to scale our efforts. To date, we've sold in 6 countries. We've sold a total of $500,000, sold over 4,000 hearing aid units, and provided testing to over 50,000 patients, and we're just getting started. We've also signed a partnership agreement with Watsons, one of the largest pharmacy chains in Southeast Asia. To date, we've raised $2.5 million in non-dilutive funding. This is our first seed round we're seeking now to really scale our sales and build out our technology. We have a very experienced team with experience in distribution, audiology, sales. I studied at Harvard and Wharton Business School. I also spent 2 years living in Africa in places like Rwanda, Kenya, Chad, and have deep emerging market expertise. We don't just compete on price. We have a whole solution that makes us very different from what's out there on the market right now, and a clear acquisition target for major hearing aid manufacturers looking to scale into emerging markets. We've also built a teleaudiology platform and now building AI into that functionality. Our major milestone in July 2023, our Ear Access Philippines subsidiary reached profitability, and we're now scaling our growth and building out our platform in 2024. We're seeking $1 million to invest in digital marketing, or build out our technology, people, and inventory. So thank you very much, and I hope you'll join us for our journey.
Audra, I was confused. So your strategy is to go to CVS's and other retail outlets in the United States, but you've only tried it out in emerging markets.
No, we are only focused on emerging markets. We want to be the first mover advantage in emerging markets. There are currently only about 1 million hearing aid units sold in the entire emerging market world. Everybody's focused on the US. We want to be the #1 in emerging markets.
So how are you going to be getting into the diagnosis centers? That's in emerging markets. Where would the potential patients go?
Yeah, so first of all, we use mobile technology. It uses iPads, for example, to do testing. We train our people that work in pharmacies and drive them in through digital marketing. So we bypass the traditional model of doctor referrals, and we go directly to consumer, which takes out all that intermediary cost, which is why you're paying so much for a hearing aid right now. We do have audiologists on staff and audio technicians that we train.
How are you doing your strategy internationally? Are you looking at locals to, in a sense, be your main company in a local area or geography and expanding so you become just the R&D group that sends the product out? But I think it's interesting, but my 2 concerns. Number 1 is how you're doing it, and number 2, are you doing it in the right way? Do you need to go after 5 different countries right now versus focusing in one and almost like a land and expand, maybe in Asia you land here and you expand in adjacencies?
Correct. Right now, we've sold B2B in 6 markets. Our B2C market right now is Philippines. We have a wholly owned subsidiary. We have 15 staff there, and we're really looking to make that the pilot, if you will. We've already reached profitability. Now the next markets we're looking at is Indonesia, India. With those 3 markets alone, that's a huge potential business.
Yeah, actually, my question is, can you talk about the competitive landscape for people doing this? And what is your secret sauce here? Why you can get the 50%
profit margin? Because the current profit margin is around 95%. So by disintermediating, we're reducing our the profit margin, but it's still a very high profit margin. Currently, in terms of competition, you have the major manufacturers. There's been a ton of consolidation in this space, who are mostly focused on high-income countries. Almost no one is focused solely on emerging markets, with the exception of maybe China, but they're not looking at all the other countries, for example, in Southeast Asia. What we've done is, over the years, we've been at it now for 8 years, we've built relationships, we've built know-how, we have tried and tested a lot of different things to get to a path to market, and we know what works now by, through digital marketing, through partnerships, what kind of partnerships work, which kinds of them don't. So we've done a lot of that kind of path to market with all non-dilutive funding to date.
Where's the product manufactured?
So we have two, so we don't manufacture our own product, we private label. We're building a brand called Access. We don't want to take product risk. The problem is not the tech, it's the distribution. So we are currently, one of our suppliers is a firm of Siemens hearing aid, one of the largest 3 manufacturers based in Singapore. The other one is India's largest hearing aid manufacturer based in Delhi. And we have the rights to exclusively sell our brand, their product under our brand globally.
And then you're asking for $1 million, right? And what's the terms of that?
Yeah, so right now our preferred terms are as a safe with a cap of $5 million and a discount of 20%. We're open to other types of investments.
And when you said you've been in the business for 8 years, one of 2 directional questions. What did you learn that you're now applying? And number 2, how come you're not more successful, no offense, given the fact you've been in for 8 years?
Yeah, so a couple things. First of all, it took us, the reason no one is doing what we're doing is because it's hard, and it takes a while to crack this market. We've been told by the major manufacturer, the former Siemens, that we're the closest they've seen to the OTC model for hearing aids. It takes a while to work in these markets. We've tried a lot of things. Now our sales are doubling year over year, and we're greatly accelerating our sales now that we've planned kind of our path to market. And really, it comes down to knowing where to go. We tried building our own audiology clinics. We tried to go to audiologists and said, why would I sell? I can sell one hearing aid for $4,000. Why would I sell one for 400? 10 for whatever for 400. So we've now kind of honed into what works. Thank you.
Thank you, Audra.
Take a picture. Here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Let's go back to the rating. All right, folks, please provide your rating, and we are only about an hour away from happy hour. So please cheer up, give some rating. Yeah, there. There is a guard. All right, next up is Dreamstar. And Dreamstar team, you need 2 mics.
Just go past back. All right, okay. Dreamstar, let's see.
Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Dominic, this is my partner Thomas Eastman. We're here today to talk about Dreamstar lines. You may have seen us in the media, we've been featured in a variety of publications as you can see here, and if you have read it, you understand why we're ready to usher in the next generation of domestic American travel. By show of hands, who here travels on a regular basis? Now keep them up if it was a pleasant experience. Yeah, okay, that's surprising. Personally, we found that a lot of people, including myself, find that modern travel has become quite the hassle. There's a significant amount of dead time, there's high cost as service continues to get worse, and not only that, it's become inconvenient. Traffic jams, long lines, you name it. Overall, you're gonna end up not feeling well rested by the time you get to your destination, and it doesn't need to be like that. That's where Dreamstar Lines comes in. We're for travelers who are tired with the dead time, increasing cost, and the inconvenience of modern travel solutions. We provide overnight sleeper train car service so that you can sleep while in transit to your destination and show up to your destination well rested. For business travelers, this means you can get to your 8 or 9 a.m. meetings well rested. And for tourists, this means when you're traveling between destinations, you can be sleeping, saving you valuable time and money while you're on vacation. So you're probably thinking, why doesn't this already exist? Well, 10 years ago, this would have been pretty tough to get off the ground. However, a variety of changes have happened that support this coming through. So there have been some financial, social, and technological forces that have really changed the game. So on a financial side, our service is now comparable to the cost of a flight and a hotel stay in our destination cities. Not only that, the federal government has now allotted a substantial amount of funds towards rail projects. Socially, we've seen some changes too. Up until fairly recently, this wasn't even legal to do. However, that is no longer the case. Not only that, Americans are much more open to alternative forms of transportation. In a world of Ubers and rideshare platforms, they're no longer as married to their automobile as they once were. And people have traveled in Asia and Europe, and they come back home and think, gosh, why don't we have that here? Lastly, even 10 years ago, it was tough to work or be entertained from anywhere. However, that's no longer the case. This allows us to provide a level of service that wasn't previously possible. As far as our first route, we have chosen the LA to San Francisco route. The reasons for that are there's a quick path to profitability. We need less than a 1% market share in order to achieve profitability. There's a large total addressable market, and we can continue to grow it, extending the route up to Sacramento or even down to San Diego. Here's a quick estimate of what we think the initial projections can be. And I'm at time, so what questions can I answer for you today?
Yeah, do you have this in service right now? Do you have an arrangement with Amtrak or somebody? And are your cars built out? Just operational issues, where do you stand?
So the key issue to launch this is to get an agreement with Union Pacific, which owns the majority of the track, as well as Metrolink on the south end and Caltrain by San Francisco. We've been negotiating with them for over a year, and we are closing in on our agreement by the end of this year with Union Pacific, after which things move very fast.
And you're asking for what, on what valuation or deal?
So part of this exercise is we're hoping to get some feedback from investors. We have an idea of what we can expect, and the way we see it, our valuation...
I actually like that answer. Okay. Instead of saying this is a $100 million valuation, just come along for the ride.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about your team or advisors on the team?
Team or advisors on the team?
Yes, I and my co-founder, Jake Vollebrecht, we're attorneys at a large Southern California law firm that represents a number of public agencies. And we had a lot of travel back and forth to the Bay Area where we had some public clients. And we just got miserable doing that flight, either getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get an LAX flight, and getting up there, after having spent 90 minutes through TSA and another hour and a half to get into the airport, we'd get there feeling like we had already put in a full day's work. And so we would start just going up and doing a hotel the night before. Well, long and short of it is, we looked to see if there was another way, if we could just take an overnight train. Discovered that we couldn't, and used some of our contacts in the public transit field to find out why. And so we spent quite a lot of time trying to shoot holes in this, and kept failing in shooting holes in it. Our team includes a former CEO of the Caltrain commuter service up in the Bay Area, and a supervisor at a Class 1 railroad.
So I assume right now there's nothing out there from a competitive standpoint, right? You guys are first movers in this space?
We are the first movers in this space. Amtrak does its own thing, but it's not able to optimize the overnight space the way we are. They've got national, across the country routes to run, and that results in less optimal service, getting to cities at really not great times. But if you look at what they're getting for sleeping cars right now, you could probably try to price a New York to Chicago or a Denver to Chicago sleeping car, and just your jaw's going to hit the floor. It's in the thousands.
Right. So there is a market for it, right? Because there's already a bus. There's already out there that buses that do this, right? That they've configured for sleeping.
They've tried that. Yeah, the buses are a little bit uncomfortable. You really need the steel rail ride for a good sleep.
Have you done any focus groups or market research with people that would switch and go to take this?
Yes, we've had a lot of interest. In fact, the majority of people would say that in that particular space, that the 400 to 800 mile space, this is actually preferable to a short haul flight for environmental comfort and price reasons.
How many cabins or compartments in each car do you have, and you have a shower?
We have an idea. I'd have to do the math in my head right now, but it's, I think, got two different configurations. We've got the first class car, and then we have the standard car. I think there are, let's see, there's about 6 bedrooms in the one and 18 single compartments in the standard one.
So it's almost like the European cars.
Very much like some of the European cars. In fact, we've plagiarized shamelessly from the best ones of those.
Good. Glenn's going to look at getting one of your one of your first passengers, by the way.
You'll have to be the second because we're going to be first. We basically made this for ourselves. We got sick of that flight and just thought, why can't there be something like this?
Are you negotiating exclusivity with Union Pacific?
Yes, and with a caveat. Technically, they will be able to offer other spots to other people, but there's a limited number of slots coming into specifically the morning arrival because you're flowing in with the commuters, and any competitors would have to have a less optimal spot.
And final question, do you have different classes like, a couchette versus a full suite versus ones with big screens?
If I can answer that, yes, the top class is going to be comparable to what's called prestige class on the Via Rail Canadian. Big screen TV, L-shaped couch, folds out to a queen bed, private ensuite shower, the works. Bedroom, double upper and lower berths, and private ensuite shower and bath. And then roomette is like a single compartment, kind of the basic accommodation.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dreamstar. Good picture.
And one more.
So we have 2 more pitches left. MedWatch is next, but please take 30 seconds to provide the feedback before MedWatch starts their pitch. Mike Moore, you ready? Couple of seconds. Mike Moore, all the way from Vegas. All right, I think it's working. Let me make sure. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Moore, the CEO of MedWatch Technologies. We are doing a non-invasive continuous glucose monitoring device. Many of you may be familiar with Dexcom or Abbott's device. Those devices last for 10 to 14 days, then you throw it away. Everybody here probably knows somebody with diabetes. You may even have it yourself. Monitoring diabetes is painful, it's inconvenient, it's expensive, nobody likes to do it. So Dexcom and Abbott has already established the market for us, and we anticipate being the first with a FDA-cleared non-invasive solution. 3 weeks ago, we had our first pre-sub meeting with the FDA. We have a clear path to a 510(k) application. From a market perspective, over 500 million people globally have diabetes. Over 100 million people in the United States have diabetes or pre-diabetes. Got a world-class team. Multiple people on my team have experience in CGM space. Several of my team members have done clinical trials for Dexcom. They also took Dexcom's devices to market. Got 2 members of my team that have run billion-dollar medical device companies, a lot of experience. We've raised $2.2 million. We're currently raising $2.5 million on a convertible note with a 10% interest rate, maturity, $25 million valuation cap. All of our manufacturing will be A whole lot of detail on the market. I think everybody knows how significant diabetes is. We anticipate 3 years after launch having revenue north of $290 million in revenue. We've already got traction. We've got our first year goal is only 50,000 units. We've already got 17,000 units spoken for in our first year, and we're soon to add probably another 50,000. So I'm happy to take any questions you have.
So I'll start. So we saw your presentation at UC, I think it was UCI last week, a couple weeks ago?
I'm sorry?
Did you present at UCI?
Not at UCI. It was at a, where was it? Dr. Aaron Levy is our Chief Strategy Officer. He did a pitch locally for me.
Newport Beach, that's where I saw it. Okay. So my question revolves around, so your size of market, you said your market cap is 25, right?
That is correct.
How did you get to that, for one? And then the second part of that question is your exit you're going to get to and when?
Sure. So for the valuation cap, that's just a cap, right? So the market's going to determine the valuation. When we have a lead investor, we'll have a price round. We put a 25 million valuation cap based on market research, the size of the market, where we're at in relation to our peers. We believe we're ahead of everybody out there with a non-invasive solution. So that's on the valuation side. From an exit perspective, we anticipate having FDA clearance at the end of next year. We are going to get offers. We've already got people sniffing around. We've already had a NASDAQ listed company that's interested in licensing some of our technology, which we promptly turned them down. The goal is to grow the company, but we're going to get offers, and we'll have to entertain those offers.
Mike, congratulations. I've seen you, I think it was 6 months ago. Congratulations on the FDA meeting. What's your price point? What's your go-to-market strategy? The big guys are going to want to buy you out and shelf you, so that's what I'm really...
So Medicare and Medicaid have a monthly reimbursement for CGMs of $255 per month. Do the math, it's north of $3,000 a year. We anticipate going to market with a retail price of about $900, with a wholesale price of $900, retail $1,500 to $1,800, which is substantially cheaper on an annualized basis than our competitors. Our margins are in the 90% range, high 80s. With EBITDA, we anticipate being in the 30% range. Go to market, we already have one of our investors is one of the largest distributors of one of our competitors' CGMs in the nation, and they sell through the DME channel. We're also working on the PBM channel. We've engaged a go-to-market team, including a key member from Dexcom that got their first 10, their first 100, first 1,000. So they've been through the drill before, and we're looking at other channels as well.
Your accuracy, where's it at? Because it needs to be accurate for it to be, people have glucose.
So everybody talks about accuracy. They talk about MARD, M-A-R-D, mean absolute relative difference. MARD is just for basically bragging rights, and it's how they try to distinguish themselves. I believe our MARD, based on our early data, will be superior to our competitors, but at the end of the day, we all have to meet FDA requirements, and they're very clearly published.
And this device lasts how long?
This device will last for 12 months, but you need to charge it roughly every 2 weeks. Where Dexcom and Abbott, you throw those devices away every 10 to 14 days, and they all have a needle or a sensor or filament that's in you, and they stick you, prick you, poke you every time. Ours is needle-free. It sits on top of the skin in our adhesive bandage.
How are you going to use your advisory board to gain traction in the market? I'm concerned about building, notwithstanding you'd have no needles, Dexcom is not going to sit still.
They're not going to sit still, but they don't have a non-invasive solution. So I anticipate they will be knocking on our door to make an offer. They will have to, because they've got a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders. Our Dr. Aaron Levy here is our Chief Strategy Officer. He's previously run $1 billion medical device company. We will leverage all of our advisory teams team members on the clinical trials, market penetration, strategy, etc.
And when will your trials be complete?
We anticipate all the trials being complete by July of next year, and that gives us 5 months, basically, till the end of the year to get FDA clearance. Be ready for market January or first quarter of 2025.
So the consumable is the sticking, is the part that sticks on the person, is that correct?
The bandage, yes.
The bandage. And then the device just gets charged and inserted into that consumable?
Yes, that is correct.
Congratulations on the tractions. Can you talk about more about your tractions? You just talk about 17,000 units already being sold or ordered. Who are those people?
It's illegal for us to sell devices, so we have soft commitments. As soon as we get FDA clearance, they've stated, hey, we want this number of units.
Yeah. Who are those like early customers? What's the persona? Not names, but just like the types of
the organizations. One is one of the largest DME companies or a distributor of one of our competitors, CGMs, and another one is a telemedicine company. And the other 50,000 that we're working to close is a group of 12,000 private pharmacies on the East Coast. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you once again, Mike. All the best. And please, you know the routine by now. Please rate the startup pitch. 30 seconds, and then we will get to Mark Botix. Mark Botix. Right there. How are you doing? Yeah? All right, living the dream. Not many founders say that, huh? That's good, that's good. No, appreciate your being here on an afternoon, and let's go. Let me pull up your pitch. There we go. And you are the last presenter today.
I won't keep you long.
All right. No, that's perfect.
Is that a PDF or?
There we go.
Oh, it's not showing.
What? Oh, I need to look at it. I'll get that stop. Give you full 3 minutes. Okay.
Oh, thank you. My name is Harut, and while I was pursuing my master's in robotics, I had the opportunity to work with this severely paralyzed person on the brain-computer interface technology. And the goal of it was to expand his capabilities and his autonomy. But for me, it was because it sounded really cool to move things with your thoughts. And I was, sign me up. But essentially brain-computer interface technology works as such. You have a helmet you wear, and there's electrodes attached to your skull, and as you think thoughts, you'd be able to move. In our case, it was a motorized wheelchair. And when I saw how it made that individual feel, it no longer became a cool project. It became a solution to a lot of people's problems. Years later, due to old age, both my grandparents became completely dependent on caregivers, and I saw the difficulties caring for someone you love. So I decided to found Mark Botix, but didn't know what to do. But the goal was to allow people to age positively, with dignity, and give them better quality of life with robotic technology. So I went on a 2-year-long endeavor, interviewed over 800 people, and from that I realized that people with mobility challenges are at risk of falls. Today in the United States we spend $50 billion on medical costs related to fall injuries. Caregivers are burnt out, overloaded, they have 77% turnover rate, and the quality of life is just not there. Due to my interviews, we built the ground robotic assistant for care enablement that will allow individual to perform tasks safely and independently, reduce caregiver burnout. There should be a video there, but never mind. Reduce caregiver burnout and allow people to live more independently and reduce operational costs for assisted living facilities. We built a quick prototype to see if there would be any need in the market. So we tested this prototype with over 300 people, and today we have 200 LOIs from individual users seeking in-home care and 35 from assisted living facilities. We are really pioneering the robot as a service business model. We do have some competition, Moxie from Diligent Robotics, AO, and Labrador Systems, but we have some key differentiator based on our customer discovery phase that we did personally. If you look at the longevity economy, it's at $7 trillion today, and it's going to reach $13 trillion by 2030. And if we take the mobility challenged individuals from that sector, that's over $40 billion in serviceable, addressable market. We believe we can achieve 80 million by year 4 in sales. We are asking for $1 million investment. And from that, we're going to build 5 prototypes that will be able to pilot tests with these facilities that we have LOIs with, and prepare for launch to market. We have a really strong team. Jeff Hoffman is a serial entrepreneur. He's been a part of multiple well-known successful startups. I'm a roboticist with over a decade and a half experience in advanced engineering technologies, and Tom has decades of experience in end-to-end product development.
So you're asking for $1 million, and what's your terms?
Safe, 8 million valuation, and 20% discount.
And does he exist?
He does not exist.
Okay, so where are you at in bringing that device to life?
We're in early development. Well, we should say the design exists. The suppliers are lined up. We need the capital to move ahead with the development.
Are you doing any SBIR? Because I think this is perfect for grant money, and that would, because as an angel investor, I probably would want to wait until you get some more, at least the working prototype and maybe something in trial. But grant money, SBIR, Wounded Warrior Project, may give you funding.
So we tried all of the above. We got denied the first time. So
do it again.
I'm doing it again right now.
Okay, can you go back to your competitive landscape? So her name is Grace, right? So
Correct.
What Grace can do here? Can you go over this?
Yeah, so basically we're really focusing on 4 main aspects, which is the retrieval, communication, inspection, and infection control. And this is based on our customer discovery that we've performed, specifically with assisted living facilities. And we have features that none of the other have, which is the remote accessibility and video audio monitoring. Basically, we're giving the control in your hands if you're caring for someone you love, that you'll be able to, while not present, you'll be able to remotely operate the robot and see and hear and talk to people that you're caring for.
So what did you go to market? So you said you had some people interested. So
correct. So
is it direct to consumer or what?
Yeah. So our initial intention was to go in-home, like in-home care, but then we realized that's going to be tough if we don't have a deal with the insurance companies, which we're working on. So our first target customers are going to be the assisted independent living facilities right now. We have 36 letters of intent from them.
And do you need to train the caregiver? How does it?
No, not at all.
It's for the actual.
No, so they don't need to be trained. It's because we're following universal design principles, so it should be seamless. We'll give you a mission computer that you can, adapt it to your facility.
Do I actually just talk to Grace? Or do I text to Grace, or can do either one?
So you can do either or. The more features you add to it, of course, the more expensive it'll get.
But the point is, you have a platform that you can add features and therefore have different kinds of combinations of features for different market segments.
Actually, that's one of the pending patents that we applied for.
So that, yeah, I like that part.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So you can add as much as you want on it. So this is a, I shouldn't say this, but it's a dumb robot with a lot of potential to make it as smart as possible.
Yeah. Have you gone through the small business development centers?
I have gone there, yes.
Yeah.
We haven't gone anywhere.
No, we'll talk after.
Okay.
What is your pricing strategy? How much will one
So,
robot cost?
robot as a service business model, we're targeting $1,900 per month, and that's a little over $24,000 if you include the initiation fee of $1,562. And our first year projections is at 480 units. That will, the revenue will be over $11 million first year on 480 units. And we do have the people to sell for to have purchase orders from. Exit acquisition, that's what we're aiming for. To be honest, I'm not really focused on that. I'm focused on going to market right now. And whatever is best for the company and other investors, we'll do at that point.
And is this at all substitution of labor?
It's not at all substitution of labor. It's more allowing the caregivers to focus on the human side of care and have Grace do the routine tasks. So we don't want the caregiver to come with a frown and to care for our loved ones. So we're trying to help reduce that caregiver burnout so they will be able to, have that human interaction.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That was our last pitch. Okay, let's go back here, and if we can get the rating done. And warm applause for our judges. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the time you are providing. Yeah, we'll take a picture first, yeah.
Right here. 1, 2, and 3. One more.
Colorado. So to be able to come and interact with a bunch of really interesting angel investors, people that are active in the community of kind of plowing it in around early stage businesses is an exciting opportunity for us.
Hi, my name is Harut Markarian. I am the founder of Mark Products, where we develop assistive robotics to redefine how we care for our aging loved ones. And today's event allowed me to pitch to investors, allowed me to perfect my pitch and meet a lot of great people.
Hi, my name's Mark Getling. I'm with Body Metrics, and the networking is what I got the most out of this event.
And then just explain a little bit of your company.
Great. Oh, I'm sorry. So don't start over. So just.
You could cut it and put it together, but it's okay. So the name of the company, and if you want, just describe it a little bit.
Okay, sure.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
My name's Mark Getling. I'm with Body Metrics. We have the first FDA-cleared smart ring in the world. Also, out of this event, the networking opportunities are the best part of this every time.
Thank you everyone for showing up for Startup Game Changer 3.0 Summit on October 11th in Garden Grove. We had 12 pitching companies today, 60 plus angel investors, 40 plus angel groups from Orange County and Los Angeles County here in the room. It is an electrifying experience for the startup founders. There are 100 plus startup founders who attended this event. The event is still going on. We live streamed it on YouTube. All those videos will be available for startups. I also do Let's Talk Startup every Thursday. So if you are a startup founder and you have questions, please register to my Zoom event on www.letstalkstartup.com and we will
only be able to count only 17 so far. We have 17 so far. Maybe by the end we'll have maybe like 20. Sí, hay muchos que me han pedido, but they don't want to miss the presentation. So getting them.
For a strong legal foundation for your startup. And last but not least, fundraising, right? Fundraising, and here we're talking about the actual process of fundraising. Understand the process, understand the due diligence, understand the security regulations that apply to the type of fundraising you're doing in. Also, we need to know the different common stock and understand the differences and why one is better than the other. I think this is everything I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you. Okay, can we turn the microphone on over here? There we go. All right, so who's got some questions? Questions? People come on up, or I can come to you. I know you've got legal. This is free, not legal advice from a lawyer. Anybody got a question? I do. I mean, come on. All right, I gotta come all the way to you. All right. Make me work here. Can we turn the lights back on? Yeah, please. Okay, here you go. Ready?
Thanks so much for that presentation. I'm interested in hearing you talk about the many founders who think they're going to initiate nonprofits and for-profits, and what some of the risks are trying to launch both of those at the same time.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And hey, we're tight on time, so let's quick, please. We have probably only time for 3 questions, and then we're going to have a panel. All the judges are going to come back and tell you what they liked and didn't like about the pitches earlier, so stick around.
No, absolutely. Unfortunately, I'm not a nonprofit attorney, so it's hard for me to talk about the risks of nonprofits and how to mitigate those. And I haven't had a situation when I had a client that had both a nonprofit and a for-profit doing the same thing. That's a little confusing. But you know, if you can tell me the concept after the session, I'll try to help you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Other than obviously becoming a Delaware C corporation, what other legal things do you need to put in place to do non-registered fundraising for your company in California?
Yeah. Yeah, again, great question. And this essentially goes back to what the investors want to see, right? It's not just necessarily what the law mandates, it's what the transaction should look like. And as an investor, right, I would want to see for sure the IP assignment agreements in place. I want to understand who are the decision makers.
Entity, not as a local entity in US from the taxes, so we can elaborate more in establishing the company and operating. We work in agriculture, supply chain, and retail chain. Thank you.
So you don't want to set up a US-based entity?
Yeah, we want to see the solutions for avoiding the taxes for an international entity. What is available options?
Look, unfortunately, when it comes to international taxation, right, it really is governed by multilateral agreements between the states, in this case Jordan and the US. So you have to really look into those to see what are the main benefits. But there are other benefits to being a Delaware C Corporation or an LLC, whatever it is that is the right entity for you. A lot of tax benefits, including tax benefits. For example, qualified small business tax. That's a benefit for Delaware C Corps. And essentially it says if you do everything right, you open a C Corp, you wait for 5 years, then you sell your startup up to $10 million from the proceeds of the sale is tax-free. And there are ways to maximize the 10 million to 20, 30, 40 million. So opening a Delaware C Corp may not be a bad idea, even if you are an international organization working cross-border, especially if you want to raise funding in the US, especially if you want to sell the company in the US.
All right, well, thanks. Over here. All right, thank you. Hey,
one more.
I'm sorry, we're out of time. We're over time. We have to be out of here about 5 o'clock, so we're going to do our wrap-up panel here. But I'm sure Hank will be over at Steelcraft with us, so you can talk to him one-on-one for your more specific questions. Okay, so I'd like to have our investor judges come on back up. Amy, Maisha, Alan, Vishal, David, there were a lot of you. Ash, come on back up. We're going to do a panel here. We're going to do the do's and don'ts. What did they see today as investors that they didn't like, or what could have been done better? Not picking on anybody, but trying to educate everyone. What we like? Oh, okay, you can do that too. Yeah, the room for improvement. Okay, okay. So how many do we got? Anybody else that was judging earlier? Okay, so while we're getting ready. Okay. Okay, excellent. Okay, so these are all folks, if you came in late, these are all folks who...
Aren't they standing?
Just sit down, please. Let's go. All right. So if you came in late, these are all folks who were judges earlier when the pitches were going on so that they can do feedback. So now we're going to do a little bit of feedback. We're not going to pick on it. Jasmine, go ahead. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Okay, we're good.
Okay, all right. I think we should always start with the positive. So I'd like to say that, first of all, very impressive pitches across the board and really interesting startups and ideas. Actually, I'm going to pick on one of the startups. So Quay, I actually thought the startup pitch was really well laid out. The information was succinct and all of the key points were there. For me, as a finance person, I always like to see all the numbers. At the end of the day, investors are trying to figure out how they're going to make money and how you make money as a startup. And so a lot of the metrics were laid out, as well as the go-to-market strategy, as well as the financial plan going forward, and as well as the competitive landscape. I really like that.
Let's see if we can each go, we'll go right, we can bounce around, but how about one good thing you liked and one you didn't, sort of improvement? Because we've got a bunch of us here, not a lot of time, but let's hear from all of you if you can. Jamie, you look like you're ready.
I'll go next. Okay, yeah, we'll just keep going down. I think within 5 minutes, the idea of having backup slides so that you can refer to them during the Q&A was very smart, and all the founders were prepared, so if you had a question that went toward a topic that you didn't cover in your 5 minutes, you were able to go there, so, and have a visual to go along with that. Founder stories and sort of your why are interesting, but sometimes people get stuck in them, and then you take way too much time talking about what you've done leading up until today, as opposed to what you're doing today and what you're doing going forward. So I just caution people on that.
For sure, I want to echo that one. Every time I do one of these, you love your story. We're more interested in the business. Business first. Story can support the business, but the story doesn't interest us unless there's a business.
Okay, so this is 5 minutes presentation, so it's at least actually you get some time to speak. But a lot of startups, you only have 60 seconds to present your ideas. So I think traction, those are very important things we need to talk about. Instead of talking about your story or why, maybe more focusing where are you right now, what are the tractions you have. That will give investors very straightforward visual on what you have achieved so far.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for hosting. It's incredible event, and all the pitches were really great.
They were good, weren't they? Let's give them all a round of applause. Really good pitches for all the speakers. That is no joke.
From our experience at Experdozo, we have invested more than 270 companies so far, and growing, like trying to close 4 to 5 deals every month. We have analyzed like 3 patterns that we look for at early stage, and those 3 parameters are like how founders are the right fit for the market, and how good bonding they have with their co-founding team. Second, if you are at early stage, show us how you're gonna grow at accelerated rate. And if you are at like maybe like post early stage, then show us the growth. How did you grow? And third would be like, are you building the lovable product or not? Whether what you're building, people are gonna like it or not. So if you can meet these 3 parameters, let's say for 3 minutes, please, we're done. Like we can have the conversation going on next time as well. So I really like the pieces today. I think most of the founders have met all those parameters. So I'm happy to take this conversation further. Just reach out to me in the happy hours and happy to do it.
And it's a great point. This is just an appetizer before the happy hour. We're all going to be over at Steelcraft afterwards, so this is just a get acquainted session. You can figure out who you want to talk to.
So following on from the hunger perspective here, I only care about in a 3-minute pitch trying to see, asking myself the question, do I want to learn more? Because that's about all you're going to do. And to do that, and a few of you have heard me pitch this before in my pitch, I need to understand the context. Sometimes it's pretty easy, like the hearing aid for the third world countries, which of course Experdozo will clearly invest in since you do a lot of work internationally. Just throwing that out for you. I like the passion of the people. I think that's really important. The second thing I like is in many cases, building the relationship with the investor community. But going back to what Scott said, when we are angels or looking at a deal, you need to think from our perspective. I hate to be so self-serving. We look at the business, does it make sense? And we look at it at various levels. Is it a good lifestyle business, or is it scalable so we can get a decent exit? The second thing is, in line with that, is it investable? And when you look at the community, the investors you pitch to, they all have different requirements in investability. At TCA, we're looking at anywhere between 10x to 30x return on our investment. So if you have a really good product, notwithstanding the valuation, the first one that I heard, the valuation was $30 million, but it had $6 million in revenue, but that didn't come out till the end of the presentation. Focus on the things that you have as a good baseline for traction, because that de-risks the platform or the product to us. Make it so that you, first of all, understand who your investors are that you're pitching to, and make it relevant for them. When you do that, it makes the story, going back to what Amy said, easier to tell. Because again, business case, investability, get to the next stage. You want to hear, tell me more. That's as simple as it is in a 3-minute pitch.
This is a tough crowd to follow, but I actually like a little bit of passion. Not too much, but a little bit. I want to see that your heart's into what you're doing and it's meaningful to you as the founder. But one piece of advice that I give to the room is, you see a lot of pitches, and then in your mind they all kind of morph together, right? So I want to hear more differentiating factors. How are you different than all of your competitors? How are you different than all the people in the room? I think there's maybe a limited number of dollars in the room. So how do you differentiate yourself from other people that are looking for money? So those would be my 2 pieces of advice.
Thanks for hosting us today here. When I look at any pitch, and excellent job everybody did today pitching, but I think 3 minutes is not enough, right? And when you look at 3 minutes, and there are investors out there, what they want to know. As an investor, I want to see how I'm gonna make money by investing in you for my investors, right? And 3 minutes is never a good enough time to communicate that message. So during that 3 minutes, there are a few parameters that you can highlight, and I believe my colleagues already covered that. But what problem you are trying to solve, what technology you have built, right? What traction you have, what projections or go-to-market strategy you have, right? Some of those key parameters, 5 or 6, just hit those points, and I think it will generate enough interest that yes, this is something that can scale, this is something that can basically make money. So focus on those, if you have 3 minutes, 5 minutes, plan it accordingly, but hit those parameters and it should be good enough. So, and I think most of the team members or most of the presenters did that today. Some parts were not fully covered, but I think it's a journey, you can cover that later.
Excellent, good advice. So any parting words? We don't have a lot of time at this point. We are going to continue this, as I've said 4 times now. We'll be across the street soon.
Practice. Whenever you get a chance to pitch, practice. Not only are you going to practice because you'll feel more comfortable up here, people will give you input and let you know what you really need to focus on. But the other thing, and it goes back to an earlier session today, you may find a good co-founder or people that can go on your team. You may find a strategic advisor that can help you find the next big sale. So get out there, network, practice, meet the investors before you need money, build the confidence, build the trust, and that will be the best way you can have a predicate for success.
Anybody else want to chime in? That was a good closer, right? Are we done? He's done this before. Anyone else? Michelle?
I will just add one more thing, that know your stuff, right? When you are presenting, and after that you are going to the question and answer session, you will be asked so many different questions. If you know your numbers, if you know your product, if you know your market, just prepare for that. It's very important to answer those questions in the right way. I think today lots of questions were asked. If you cumulatively look at those, you can summarize into a 6 to 8 good questions that you can prepare for, which will help you whenever you go and present.
I would also add, ultimately, in the end, it's all about execution. So just go aggressive in the market, execute, and execute.
You can also look, especially those of you who are presenting, you can look in the Demo Day app. There's a lot of feedback for you because everybody was generous enough with their time to vote and give feedback, so that should be helpful to everyone. And those of you who want to pitch these events in the future or other events that use the app, that'll also be helpful to you. It's one of the reasons that they built it. So speaking of being generous with their time, let me just point out that these folks don't have to be here. We're all volunteers. We have enough money that we don't have to do this. We do this because we want to help and we enjoy it. So thank you to all of you for being here again, and also thank you to all of you for being here. And I think I'm going to throw it to Jerry for a next event.
We should take a picture with all the judges also.
Well, grab us a picture while we're sitting down, I guess. That's easier. Then we don't have to rearrange.
All the judges, please. Let's take a picture.
Yeah, and I think we lost 1 or 2.
We lost the slide.
Just be here.
And don't go anywhere quite yet. A couple closing comments.
There you go. There is one more there. Fun one.
Thank you so much.
So, first of all, thank you everyone for coming today. I'm assuming because you're still here that you got a lot out of today. So, thank you. I think we're going to give you a big applause for coming today. Thank you for coming out to Garden Grove, making the trip. Because of good old rush hour traffic, depending on where you came from, and that we are having a happy hour. It's kind of a cash bar situation, beer and wine, food over at Steelcraft, which is exactly 2 blocks that way, a block and a half even. It's a great facility. You can walk from here and then walk back to the parking lot. But we had over 60 people there last time, and it was just a great opportunity to network, get to know more about it.
Really enjoyed the event today. There's a lot of interest in medical devices, and thank you so much for your time.
Perfect. Thank you so much for
Thank you. Yeah, is this
Oh yeah, he's gonna see this.
Right here, guys, right here. A little bit off the background. More this way. Right there. That's good. Right here. One more. Fun one. This is fun picture. There we go.
Thank you. Let's go. That's it. Come on, Mike. Come on, my friend. Mike from
yeah, please. Come on, everybody. Come on, come on. Ramesh bhai. Start. Come on. Jerry.
He's making deals from Jerry's position. He's only got one. It's okay.
I don't think we'll get everybody.
Where's Maisha?
Maisha is back there.
She's in networking.
Right now, right? Kamal and Nitish were here.
He's here.
Okay, get ready for live, okay? Because I'm gonna ask them to. After photos,
Video.
Yeah, like
do we do some fun stuff?
Yeah, whatever, you know, there we go. You like them? Yeah. All right.
Jerry.
Come on, Jerry. We take the photo first and then we go live. Very nice. All right, guys. Ready? All right. Half a step this way. That way it's in the middle. There we go. All right, guys. One more. 1, 2, and 3 right here. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Yay! Woo! And then one more. Whoa, for the camera right here, guys. Yay!
All right.
Hey, the Startup Game Changer is an excellent program and we all benefited. I'm a startup guy. I was looking to network with the great investors and the fellow startup ecosystem people. It's a great event and thanks for the organizers. They have done a great job.
Hi, my name is Alan Go. I'm in charge of the West Coast Technology Practice of Witham. We're a top 25 accounting firm. The thing that I enjoy the most about this session is the amount of innovation and passion for startups that people have. And every time I come to an event like this, it's so infectious and I want to go out and do my own startup and found my own startup. So kudos to everybody in this group. Happy to be involved with this organization and what a great event.
Right here, guys.
This is Ammar Al-Shami. I am the founder of eFrisco. eFrisco is a global startup for integrating the supply chain in agriculture. The result is a retail chain franchise. Today's event was very valuable for us. We have a good networking event. It's rich in networking, and also we have some consultation with legal partners and financial partners as well. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is JJ Risha. I'm with Pismo Ventures, a studio in Irvine that helps startups from ideation all the way to raising capital and also to exit. I also belong to Tecos Angels, which is an angel group, one of the largest angel group in the nation. I attend events like these all the time. This is one of the best events that I've attended this year. A lot of innovation, a lot of new companies that I've seen today, and I really love doing this. I really like helping entrepreneurs, and this is kind of part of what I do to give back to the community by helping entrepreneurs, and this is a great event to do that.
Them, but it was an overall tremendous experience. Congratulations to Jerry and Shuman, Ashish, and Scott to bring this wonderful event together. Thank you.
I'm the Executive Vice President and the Chief Financial and Operating Officer at the Colburn School. I'm really excited that I spent the day today at Startup Game Changer as a judge and an investor. It was wonderful to see all of the different startups, the wonderful ideas that were presented. It was also great to see the gamut of stages that different startups are at, from pre-revenue to some with like millions of dollars of revenue. And it was wonderful to hear about their stories. And my advice to all of them is focus on traction and execution so that we know that you can actually make